Overture to the boy next door.
Okay.
This is the overture to the boy next door.
Well, it's
We'll have
door.
overtures. Why not this too?
What
Hey,
if we-
everyone.
Do I have to work?
What?
I was just wondering where I should look. Should I look at my script or the camera?
Hopefully they're close together, so the eye line.
What if we have to go to the bathroom?
That's a really good question, Hallie. Dan, what should we do?
If you have to go to the bathroom, just be upfront about it. If it's, I mean, like, look, try to hold it.
Interrupt the scene. Stop the scene. Excuse me.
Yeah, wait till it's a scene that you're not in, and then interrupt to stop.
Yeah. Oh, and say number one or number two. You have to make sure everyone knows.
Down my face, and Hallie will be like, "I'm sorry." Gotta go.
It's just pee. It's not poop.
So I think does that count
Dan,
as the least professional opening that we've ever had for a?
No, not at all.
No.
So, okay, thank you everyone who's viewing. I hope that people are viewing for coming to this thing that we promised to do. We Flophouse listeners donated over $70,000 to Black Lives Matter and food bank charities, and we zoomed past our goal where we promised to do a staged reading of The Boy Next Door, the thriller starring one J. Lopez, as she's known by everyone.
Yep.
For applause.
Perfect opening. Yep.
For
I like
applause.
you said it's a staged reading.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's going to be a lot of dance.
Yep.
No, but thank you. So now we're compelled to do the thing that we said that we're going to do.
And who are we?
Oh, well, no, we're going to introduce ourselves.
Okay.
How this would go beforehand.
Cool.
Stuart.
Should I interrupt you anymore?
No, there are a couple. Okay.
Mention that we're the Flophouse.
We are the Flophouse. The podcast, the Flophouse. Well, some of us are, and some of us are friends of the Flophouse.
Did you explain what a podcast is?
A podcast is like a radio show for your originally it was for your iPod.
Like a radio show for your ears.
Okay.
Yeah.
You lost me.
Jesus, god
So
damn.
what's a friend?
You're like Joe Rogan.
So anyway, quickly before we start the introductions, there's one programming note for tonight. Ex Mayo was supposed to be here. She had something very important that happened that prevented her from being here. So her understudy, Jordan Morris, is here, star of All About Steve, Jordan Morris.
Thank you. Thank you.
As good a time as any for us to all introduce ourselves. I will say your name, and then you can introduce yourself thereafter, however you please to, and say who you're playing. And then there actually will be one more programming note before we start the actual show. But I am Dan McCoy of the Flophouse. Stuart loves it. And Stuart, why don't you say who you are?
I'm Stuart Wellington. I own a couple of bars in Brooklyn, and I'm also one of the members of the Flophouse podcast.
Elliott, you go.
Oh wait, and should I say who I'm playing? Didn't you say we were supposed to do that?
Sorry, I'm playing Claire.
Claire Peterson?
Claire Peterson, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be playing Kevin Peterson, and I will briefly be playing boy toy Ethan.
Elliott, I'm going to go to you just because you're the third flopper. Who are you?
My name's Elliott Kalan, third flopper, first in the hearts of his nation. You might call me America's less original bad boy. There were other bad boys before me. And I'll be playing Gary Peterson. The role originated in the film by John Corbett. I'll be playing Travis, a bad date. And I'll be playing stage directions. That's right. The character with the most words in the show.
Hallie Haglund. Who are you?
I'm Hallie Haglund, sometimes Flophouse guest, and I shall be playing the role of the boy next door, Noah.
Natalie, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Natalie Walker. I am a performer and writer and cats enthusiast, and I will be playing Vicki Lansing, the role played in the film by Kristen Chenoweth, Allie, who is the hot teen, and Loretta, who is a character that I didn't get to in my rewatch today, and I'm excited to find out who she is in the script today.
And Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny Jaffe. I'm also a big cats enthusiast. I'm a writer. I'm sometimes affiliated with the Flophouse. I feel like it's really sort of like a you guys are sort of like a Fantastic Four thing. Like there's just a core group, but then there's a lot of us who like pop in and out and are like sort of like affiliates. Or maybe it's like a We Are Groot situation. Like we're all
Yeah, that's probably closest.
Flophouse.
I'll be playing various.
Yeah. Jordan.
Hi, I'm Jordan Morris. I'm best known as having 3 lines in the Sandra Bullock, Bradley Cooper, Lowell from Wings classic All About Steve. And I will be playing such roles as Headmaster Warren, Principal Brody, and other sordid denizens of this burg we call Next Dorton.
And yes, the other promised programming note. So it came to our attention just this morning that this is not the shooting script for The Boy Next Door. This was the original script that was retooled.
Yeah, it was too hot for TV, I believe, is what it says stamped on my script.
And most notably, this does not have the most infamous scene in the shot version of The Boy Next Door. Elliott noticed this last night. Natalie, who's a real pro, was watching the movie and comparing it with her script this morning. She noticed it. Both of them frantically emailed, knowing that we had to have this scene in there. And Natalie was nice enough to transcribe it for us. And it has been inserted into its appropriate place in the script. And you will know when the scene comes up because the stage directions will get a lot funnier because Natalie put in stage directions.
My prose is very florid.
So look forward to that.
This also means that a few of my favorite lines in the film, unfortunately, will not be in this, but that's okay. Just be sure to watch the movie afterwards so you can see the worst use of the word cookies and maybe the history of film.
And you can decide whether we did it better than the original actors.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Hallie's right on that one. This will be the new canon.
I'm going to really quick close this door that should have been closed before.
New canon.
Cool.
Prepared, professional, ready.
Hey, time to start the show. We're the Flophouse.
No.
What's a podcast?
Let's.
Yep.
This is enough stalling. Let's just do it.
Cool.
Okay. The Boy Next Door by Barbara Curry. Original screenplay. Exterior, Evanston, Illinois. Side note, where my brother went to college. Dawn, aerial view. A deep ravine slashes through a wooded area that stretches for miles behind picturesque homes. Through the treetops, through the treetops, we glimpse a female runner on a trail. Exterior, woods, trail, dawn. Muddy running shoes pound a dirt path. We travel up toned legs and a trim frame to a face. Classically beautiful, but set hard with determination. This is Claire Peterson, 39, though she could pass for years younger if she'd only lighten up a bit. Kind of a sexy script, okay. No mention of a knee injury, so Dan, I think you'll be all right. She speeds up as she approaches a fallen sycamore that blocks her path. With the grace of a gazelle, she leaps over the downed tree and lands in a clearing. Poised on the brink of the ravine, quiet, mossy, a sylvan paradise, complete with a tire swing hanging from a tree. Claire breathes heavily as she stretches against the fallen sycamore. Eventually, her gaze wanders to a weathered carving on its trunk. CP plus GP, encircled in a heart. Her eyes darken. Her watch beeps, pulling her back to the present. She hurries off toward a colonial-style home in the distance. Interior, Peterson house, the aforementioned home, kitchen, morning. Claire, dressed in a prim skirt and blouse, bustles about clearing the breakfast table. A newscast plays on a small TV, but Claire doesn't pay much attention to it.
Milwaukee, a jury has convicted a local plumber for the murder of his live-in girlfriend, Marissa Sheldon.
Kevin, time to go.
A photo of a pretty blonde woman fills the TV screen. Claire gives it a fleeting glance while filling her commuter mug.
A beloved teacher at Bayview High, 31-year-old Sheldon was found bludgeoned to death in her apartment last spring.
Claire flicks off the TV.
Train's leaving, Kev.
Claire shoves a slice of burnt toast between her teeth, grabs her belongings, and goes out the door. Interior, Peterson house adjoining garage, morning. Claire enters from the house, juggling her things. Not literally, probably. She pushes the garage door opener on the wall, but the massive wooden door doesn't budge. She pushes it again. Nothing.
Not today.
He sets her things down and lifts the door manually, struggling under its weight. Then it immediately rolls back down, accompanied by a sprinkling of drywall.
Damn it.
Kevin Peterson, 13, gangly, Elmer's glue complexion, emerges from the house lugging a backpack and a cello case. He surveys the scene and reaches for his cell phone.
We better call Dad.
No, I've got it.
Claire wedges a ladder under the door. Interior, Claire's SUV, morning. With Kevin at her side, Claire checks her mirror and backs out. Instantly, they hear the sickening crunch of metal. Interior, Peterson house garage, day. Claire gets out of the SUV and grimaces at the mangled luggage rack on top, the garage door too low by a matter of millimeters. Kevin gets out, his eyes wide.
Oh, man.
Just get in the car.
Exterior, Wilkerson Preparatory School. A majestic brick building atop a sprawling lawn. SUVs stream through the gated entry decorated with a "Welcome Back" banner. Claire's SUV pulls in, the luggage rack secured by a bungee cord and duct tape. Interior, Claire's SUV, moving. Claire maneuvers through the parking lot where excited teens greet each other after a long summer apart. Kevin spots Hallie Cambridge, 17, beauty pageant material, laughing with girlfriends. Claire notices his eyes following her as they drive past. Claire starts to turn into a parking space when an acne-scarred tough guy, Jason Zimmer, 18, steps into her path, roughhousing with some boys. Kevin shrinks at the sight of Jason. Claire waits for him to pass, then parks.
You have any problem with him?
Mom, I can handle it.
Kevin gets out and trudges toward the building. Claire watches him disappear in her mirror, then gets out. Wilkerson Prep, hallway. Claire walks among throngs of students, greeting them with genuine affection. Vicky Lansing, 35, shapely and wearing tight clothes to prove it, comes up alongside her.
Ready for the little bastards?
Bit hostile for the first day.
Why wait? It's going to come to that soon enough.
Vicky pulls a chunk of drywall from Claire's hair.
Prowling construction sites in your spare time?
The garage door is acting up again.
Ethan's got a hot buddy who's incredibly handy with domestic repairs.
No thanks.
If you change your mind, I'm sure this guy could get it up for you.
Claire laughs, of course, and heads off.
I'll take that as a solid maybe.
Interior Wilkerson Prep classroom. Claire enters as the bell rings. Boisterous students reluctantly take their seats.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mrs. Peterson. Welcome to ancient Greek literature.
Moans from some of the kids.
I know. Torture, right? Trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet.
On a large screen, she projects a drawing of ancient Greeks forcing a man into a large hollow brass bowl.
This, my friends, is the brazen bull, a little torture device conjured up by the ancient Greeks to roast criminals alive. And just to amp up the creepy factor, they put a network of pipes inside so the victim's screams would sound like the bellowing of an infuriated bull.
Ew.
Oh.
They were pretty sick and twisted.
Awesome.
They were pretty sick and twisted.
Oh, no. Kind of cool. Fun. Hot.
Lucky for us, they wrote about it.
He sits on her desk and makes eye contact with each of them.
Jealousy, ambition, greed, lust. Thousands of years ago, the Greeks were intimately familiar with the dark side of human nature. I'm betting that by the end of this class, you will be too.
He scans their riveted faces and knows she's got them. Exterior, Peterson House, day. Next door, burly men unload furniture from a moving truck. Claire's SUV pulls in. Claire and Kevin get out and crane to see the activity.
I wonder who's moving in.
Maybe a cute girl your age.
Kevin rolls his eyes and goes inside. I'm just saying to masturbate, probably. Claire follows with a chuckle. Interior, Peterson House kitchen. Claire loads the dishwasher. 2 plates, 2 glasses, 2 forks. She sorts through the mail, tossing aside envelopes addressed to Gary Peterson. She comes to one addressed to her from the law offices of Sharon Atkinson. She opens it and finds a petition for divorce with a note attached. Sign ASAP so I can file on your behalf. Interior, Peterson House, master bathroom, night. Claire, in a nightgown, brushes her teeth. She glimpses herself in a full-length mirror. She pulls up her nightgown and stares with clinical detachment at her buttocks, turning to catch every angle. She drops her nightgown and spits into the sink. Interior, Peterson House, master bedroom. Claire peers out at the newly occupied house next door. A light shines through the semi-sheer curtains in the window directly across from hers. Suddenly, behind the curtains, a male silhouette appears, removing his shirt over his head. Claire draws her curtains. She gets into bed, careful not to disturb the other side, and turns out the light. She buries her face in the pillow next to hers and smells it. She closes her eyes. Interior, upscale department store day. Claire and Vicky browse in the shoe department.
So file the damn thing already.
I will. I just not there yet.
What you need is somebody to get you there. A hot stud who's going to barge in and shake you up and make you feel, you know.
Desirable.
I was thinking more like horny.
It's meant as a joke, but Claire remains gloomy.
You are desirable. He just had his head too far up his ass to appreciate it.
Vicky stops at the sale rack. Well, actually, it says Vicky stops at the sale rack, while Claire wanders over to a display of sexy stilettos. Claire picks up one of the stilettos and stares at it, captivated by its raw sex appeal. A salesman approaches.
Can I bring you your size?
Oh, no, these aren't really.
She takes a 7.
Interior, Claire's SUV, moving. Claire drives as Vicky touches up her makeup in the mirror.
I'll never wear them.
We'll see.
Claire pulls into her driveway and sees a teenage boy playing basketball with Kevin. He's tall and well-developed. More a man in appearance than a boy. This is Noah Sanborn, 17.
Who the hell is that?
I have no idea.
They watch as he dribbles, circles around Kevin, basketball dribbling, not like Dan. His every muscle flexing. Vicky scrambles out of the car. Exterior, Peterson house, driveway, day. Vicky approaches as Noah shoots a perfect layup.
Bravo!
Both boys turn to her, and for the first time, we clearly see Noah's face. Magnetic eyes, confident smile, boyish yet possessing a solemn quality that suggests an old soul living deep inside.
Hey, Vicky.
Hi there, Vicky Lansing.
Noah Sanborn. Nice to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine.
Claire walks up.
Noah, this is my mom. Noah just moved in next door from Milwaukee.
Welcome to the neighborhood, Noah.
Noah's eyes come alive as they take Claire in.
Thanks a lot, Mrs. Peterson.
Oh, please, call me Claire.
Noah's going to be a senior at Wilkerson.
No kidding. So you must be what, 18 already?
Not till June.
Okay, Vicky. Why don't we let the boys play?
Claire, Vicky into the house. Noah watches them go with more than mild interest. That was not me stumbling. That's the way it's written. Kevin notices.
Yeah, Vicky's something, isn't she? All the guys call her the second coming. Get it?
Hey, that's pretty rude, man.
Oh no, I didn't mean it like.
Chill, bro. Just messing with you.
Noah steals the ball from Kevin and slam dunks it. Interior, Peterson house, laundry room. Claire sorts laundry when she hears the sound of a car pull in. She looks out to the driveway. Her face darkens. Gary Peterson, 45, gets out of a black Mercedes. Athletic and slightly graying, he's the picture of success in his Armani suit. Until you glimpse the melancholy look in his eyes. Exterior, Peterson house, back door. Claire swings the door open just before Gary knocks. Kevin called, said the garage door was broken.
I've already scheduled someone to come out.
I'm here. Let me take a look. Interior, Peterson house, garage. Gary stands on ladder and pokes around inside the motor of the garage door opener. Claire watches from below, arms folded. Motor's not burned out. Hand me a Phillips head, would you? She does, her eyes traveling the lines of his buttocks.
I thought you were out of town.
Just a quick trip to meet with a new client. Let's see if that did it. He climbs down and pushes the button. The door rises. There we go.
Where?
What?
Your meeting, where was it?
New York. Claire lets out a disgusted laugh. I didn't see her.
We're separated, Gary. You're free to do whatever you want.
We're still married as far as I'm concerned, and I don't have any interest in seeing her or anybody else. I haven't been with anyone this whole time, I swear.
Wow, what a feat. Congratulations.
Don't be like that.
Like what, Gary? You want me to believe every word that comes out of your mouth? I tried that. Didn't exactly work out.
Claire.
Thanks for your help with the door.
Tell Kevin I'll call him about the camping trip. Gary trudges out the garage door. Claire pushes the remote button and the door descends between them. Exterior, Peterson house day. Claire cuts roses from a hedge in her driveway when Noah comes out of his house with a man, 55, in a suit and tie. Claire watches from behind the hedge as they walk to an Audi parked in Noah's driveway.
Promise you'll call me if there's any problem.
Don't worry.
You're gonna love Wilkerson. Just wait, you'll have a slew of friends before you know it.
Their conversation becomes inaudible as the man gives Noah an affectionate slap on the back and gets into his car. Noah waves as the man drives off. He heads back to the house and spots Claire, who pretends to be minding her own business.
Hey, Claire, those are some roses. Floribundas, right?
I'm impressed.
My mom studied horticulture in college. Rubbed off, I guess.
Maybe she can tell me how to get rid of these brown edges.
She died a few years ago in a car accident.
Oh. I'm sorry. It's just you and your dad then?
She nods to where the car had been parked.
Yeah, but he travels a lot for work, so I'm pretty much on my own.
You must get lonely.
Well, I'm used to it. You get used to anything if you have to.
He suddenly looks bereft, weary. Claire smiles with empathy.
Well, see you around.
Noah heads back to his house. Claire watches him go, motherly concern in her eyes.
Hey, Noah, you're welcome to join us for dinner tonight.
Noah turns to her with a smile. Exterior, Peterson House kitchen, evening. Claire and Kevin watch with amusement as Noah devours his meal, so it probably should have said interior.
You're really like burning this screenwriter.
I apologize. Look, we all make those mistakes. Just something.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Come on. Okay.
Well, you didn't tell me your mom was such an incredible cook. I might have to crash dinner every night.
You're welcome anytime.
Claire spoons more potatoes onto Noah's plate, her breasts swaying with the motion. Noah's eyes take them in.
So I hear your ancient Greek literature class is pretty amazing.
Then you haven't heard her nickname.
Kevin.
Seriously, they call her the Crusher.
You cover Homer? He's my favorite.
You're kidding, right?
Dude, you ever read the Iliad? Achilles is a total badass. Hot-tempered, full of pride, totally consumed by his emotions.
Which proved to be his downfall.
Downfall? The guy was one of the greatest warriors of all time. People have been talking about him for centuries, from Dante to Shakespeare to Zeppelin to Dylan. He's in comic books, video games, movies, every modern day medium there is. Hell, I'd take that kind of failure any day.
Wow, man. You're really into it.
Claire's eyes gleam. Finally, a kid who gets it.
Hey, you think I got a shot at getting into your class?
It's an honors class, involves a ton of work. You think you can handle it?
Oh, absolutely.
Noah grins enthusiastically, ready for any challenge.
I'll see what I can do.
Interior, Claire's SUV, moving, morning. Claire drives while Kevin and Noah sitting back, playing with their iPhones. Kevin notices Noah's screen, which displays custom themes and applications.
Dude, what the heck?
Yeah, I jailbroke it. That's how I get all my cool apps.
Kevin watches with fascination as Noah starts up a strange third-party application.
Is that legal?
It voids the warranty, but it's legal. I'll show you how after school if you want.
Here we are.
Claire pulls through the Wilkerson Prep gates. Noah looks out the window at the manicured grounds. He smiles with deep satisfaction. Parking lot. As Kevin pulls his cello from the back of the SUV, Claire notices Noah's tie hanging loose around his neck.
You'll get detention if that's not tied properly.
I tried, I just never got the hang of it.
Here.
Claire straightens Noah's collar, her fingers brushing against his skin.
Chin up a little.
She wraps and loops the tie, her face close to his. He gazes at her eyelashes, her lips.
There you go. Perfect.
He smooths the tie and smiles at him.
Thank you.
Their eyes linger on each other for a long moment, something passing between them. Claire's smile slowly fades.
We're going to be late.
Yeah, better get going.
Come on, I'll show you around.
They head off. Claire blinks, unsettled. Interior, Wilkerson Prep hallway. Noah follows Kevin, who grapples with his cello case through a mob of students.
Need a hand?
I've got it.
Kevin consults a slip of paper and leads Noah to a locker.
Here it is.
Noah works the combination. When Jason Zimmer comes around the corner, a couple of his stooges in tow, he spots Kevin.
What you got in the case, geek boy?
Come on, Jason.
Stooge.
There's a stooge. Maybe it's 1947. Hey, that's right. You going Columbine on us?
Believe me, Zimmer, you'd be the first to know.
Geek boy's trying to be funny, huh? You think you're funny? Huh?
Jason grabs the cello, but Kevin hangs on tight. They grapple with it amidst hoots from the Stooges. Suddenly, a hand goes to Jason's neck.
Let go.
Jason writhes in Noah's vice grip, then finally releases the cello. Noah shoves him, nearly sending him to the floor.
What the?
Jason wheels around ready for battle, but the cold-blooded look in Noah's eyes instantly unnerves him.
Fuck with him, you fuck with me.
Noah slams his locker and saunters off. Kevin gives Jason a shit-eating grin and follows. Cafeteria. Claire and Vicky enter the food line.
Wouldn't you know I got friggin' Cameron Knopf in my class? He's just as big a moron as his older brother.
Claire's eyes drift to the dining room where she spots Allie Cambridge flirting mercilessly with Noah.
You'd think those parents would see what they got the first time around and be scared shitless to reproduce again.
Claire watches their interaction with a proprietary look. Vicky follows her gaze.
Figures she'd sniff him out on day one, like a dog to raw meat.
Vicky chuckles, but Claire turns and walks the other way. Claire's SUV moving day. Claire drives with Kevin beside her and Noah in back. Kevin spots Jason Zimmer lighting up a cigarette as he ambles down the street with his friends.
There he goes. Douchebag.
Kevin,
Well, he is, and you know it.
did something happen?
Hey, it was no big deal.
You should have seen his face when you grabbed him, man. He looked like he was gonna pee his pants.
Better be careful, Noah. Jason's not someone you want as your enemy.
He's not as tough as he thinks he is.
Claire smiles to herself.
So how about friends? You make any of those today, Noah?
Not really.
I saw you talking to Allie Cambridge in the cafeteria.
She studies him in the mirror, but his face gives away nothing.
Man, I've been working up the nerve to talk to her for a year, and you do it on your first day?
She's a very pretty girl.
Very. She's just not my type.
Dude, she's every guy's type.
She's a little immature. That's all.
Noah's eyes meet Claire's in the mirror. She quickly looks away. Peterson house, master bedroom, night. Claire, dressed in a nightgown, turns down the bed. She goes to draw the curtains and sees Noah reading in the window across from hers. Noah looks up, smiles, and waves. Claire waves back, embarrassed, and closes her curtains. Exterior, Peterson house driveway, dawn. Claire stretches, dressed for a run.
Morning.
She turns and sees Noah in his driveway in sweats and sneakers.
Noah,
I see you out here every morning. Thought maybe you could show me the best trail.
She hesitates.
But I don't want to intrude on your private time or anything.
think you can keep up?
Woods, morning. Claire and Noah run side by side, their feet pounding in sync along the path we've seen Claire travel. When they near the clearing, Claire points to the fallen sycamore.
There's the finish.
He sprints ahead and leaps over the tree, showing off. Noah follows. Claire trots in place, gulping water. Noah bends over, gulping air.
Oh man, you do this every day?
Rain or shine.
Noah hangs on the tire swing and watches Claire stretch against the fallen sycamore.
It's nice here. Peaceful.
Better stretch or you'll be sorry tomorrow.
Noah joins her at the tree, positioning himself near the carving of Claire's and Gary's initials.
You do this?
Kevin's dad. Back when the tree was still standing.
Oh, talk about symbolism.
Yeah. Funny the way things work out.
Kevin said there's a chance you two might get back together?
I'm sure that's what every kid whose parents split up hopes for.
Well, you never know. My mom and dad almost got divorced, but they worked it out in the end.
There's some things that can't be worked out.
Noah watches her as she struggles to hide her pain.
You're really not over him, are you?
What makes you say that?
Well, I mean, this place is obviously special to you.
Was.
You run here every day.
It's right behind the house. The trail's exactly 6 miles to this point.
I'm just saying.
I'm the one who ended it.
People do all kinds of crazy things when it comes to love. That was in the script.
I don't.
Exterior, Peterson house driveway day. Gary and Kevin load camping gear into Gary's car. I think we've got everything.
Wait, I forgot my PSP.
You can't bring your PSP.
Why not?
Because it's camping.
My point exactly.
He runs inside, passing Claire. She comes out with a duffel bag.
The packed his inhaler and some prednisone in case his allergies act up.
Why don't you come with us? It wouldn't have to mean anything.
Everything means something, Gary.
Noah appears, shirtless, lugging a ladder up his driveway.
Hey, Claire.
I know.
Noah nods to Gary, then goes into his garage. Who's that?
Neighbor. He and Kevin have become fast friends.
Isn't he a little old for Kevin?
He's 17, a senior at Wilkerson.
And you let him... Gary stops abruptly as Noah comes out of the garage. He waits for Noah to go into his house then. And you let him call you Claire? Before she can answer, Kevin appears with his PSP, his iPhone, and his laptop.
You think they have internet?
You can bring the PSP. That's it. Kevin begrudgingly hands the rest over to Claire.
Don't worry, it'll be here when you get back.
He gives Kevin a kiss as he gets into the car. You sure you're going to be okay here? All by yourself?
I'm a big girl, Gary.
Gary gets in the car and pulls out. Claire waves goodbye. Noah, who is fixing the roof of the house next door, notices the car driving away. Now, here, this is when we get to our very special best thing in the movie moment. Natalie, if you would like, since you did the job of transcription,
Sure.
would you like to take over the stage directions for this section?
Elliott, do you want a break, or are you just being gentlemanly by offering?
It could be both of those things.
Okay. Interior, Peterson house, living room, day. Claire relaxes on the couch. She wears thick black horn-rimmed glasses, just as a meek high school classics teacher who doesn't look like J-Lo might. She is on her computer watching some sort of music video, or is simply doom scrolling while listening to some Imogen Heap adjacent vocal stylings. Whatever it is that she's doing on the internet, it certainly has her feeling very warm and tender as she takes her hand off her keyboard to briefly clutch her heart. Someone must capitalize on this softness, and that someone must be the titular boy. A knock at the door, which Claire has left open because maybe somewhere deep in her spirit she craves danger. Maybe she hears incessant murmurs of the call of the void. Maybe she lives in a very peaceful place where nothing happens and people live with their doors and hearts open, like Canada. Thrice Noah knocks, just as the prophecy foretold.
Oh. Hey, Noah.
Claire shyly adjusts her thick black horn-rimmed glasses, just as a meek high school classics teacher who doesn't look like J-Lo might.
Come on in. You know, Kevin already left.
Actually, I picked something up for you.
Noah presents Claire's gift from behind his back, a copy of the Iliad. Claire laughs because what a weird thing to get a teacher the book they are going to be teaching all year, like she didn't have it. Is funding for education even bleaker than I imagined? Yes? Yikes! Claire opens the book and is entirely unprepared for what she encounters on its title page.
Oh my God, this is a first edition. I can't accept this. This must have cost a fortune.
Oh, it was a buck at a garage sale. You know, one man's trash.
I can't. Noah, I can't. Honestly, I appreciate it.
Please. I've been eating here every single night. It'd mean a lot to me.
Thank you.
Claire sits back down, staring at the book. Should she contact a museum first or try to get a payday from Christie's? But Noah has spotted her pair of slut shoes, still in their box, lest they escape and wreak their sex havoc upon an unwitting populace.
Those yours?
A close-up of the slut shoes. Their raw, carnivorous sensuality bores through us. We feel curiosity, lust, shame, all at once, and the shoes know it.
Oh, no, they were a gift from Vicky.
Good.
Why?
Claire laughs nervously. Noah smolders.
Those kind of shoes are for women who are trying to be sexy. You don't need to try.
Noah smolders.
God.
Noah continues to smolder. Claire, finally recognizing that she is the object of a smoldering, is taken aback. Noah senses her apprehension and backs down.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have.
No, it's okay.
Before Claire can formulate an appropriate response, Noah leaves. This has been the famous Iliad first edition scene. Back to the draft.
Excellently done. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you. Okay. Interior, upscale sushi restaurant night. Claire and Vicky enter a crowded bar area. Claire wears the dress that was laid on her bed, but instead of the stilettos, she wears a sensible pair of pumps.
Can't believe I let you talk me into this.
You're gonna love him. He's cute, he's rich, and best of all, he's got his hair.
Vicky undoes the next button on Claire's dress.
Relax, you look fabulous.
Vicky waves vigorously at two attractive men across the room. Upscale sushi restaurant slightly later. Vicky and her boy toy, Ethan, 29, feed each other sushi while practically sitting in each other's lap. Claire sits next to Travis, 35, with her purse wedged firmly between them. Travis does indeed have all his hair, but he looks like the kind of guy who takes 2 hours to get it just right. All our rooms are booked solid for the next 18 months, thanks to that write-up in Condé Nast.
It used to be a convent until Travis got a hold of it.
Can you imagine prime real estate like that?
Putting defenseless nuns out on the street? I don't know how you sleep at night, man.
Hey, they're the ones who took a vow of poverty, not me. But Claire musters only a tight smile. Speaking of vows of poverty, I hear you're a teacher.
That's right.
What do you teach?
Classical studies, specializing in ancient Greek literature.
Really? I didn't think they still taught stuff like that in high school.
What's that supposed to mean?
Claire.
Well, I mean, let's face it. How many kids are really going to use what they learn in classical studies? As he speaks, Travis's eyes flit to a curvaceous woman in a skin-tight skirt who gets up from a nearby table. It's barely a glimpse, but Claire notices. Kids nowadays need to be prepared for the realities of the job market. They need practical skills.
Skills?
Yeah, trade like plumbing or machine repair. For the brighter ones, technology, finance, that's where the money is.
Ah, money. That's the goal then.
Nothing wrong with that.
Except when it's motivated by nothing more than greed.
Ooh, we got ourselves a live one here. You're a little firecracker when you get riled up, aren't you?
You know, maybe we should order a little more.
Seriously? A firecracker? Is that how you regard women who have an opinion on something?
Only if it disagrees with mine. He laughs, trying to lighten the mood. Vicky joins in a little too boisterously. Claire gathers her belongings.
It's getting late and I've got an early morning. It was a pleasure meeting you, Travis. See you tomorrow, Vicky.
Claire, please.
Claire starts to leave. Suddenly, she turns back to Travis.
J.K. Rowling.
What?
Billionaire. Classics major.
He wants
Trans asshole.
Truly a time capsule from a different time. Exterior, sushi restaurant, parking lot. Light rain falls as Claire hurries to her car. Vicky chases after her.
Claire, wait.
Claire stops at her car, searching for her keys.
What the hell was that?
Come on, Vicky. You can't possibly see me with that guy.
So you pick a fight with him?
You deserved it.
What is your problem? Can't you just lighten up and have some fun?
Maybe I'm not ready for fun.
Then sit at home alone and mope if that's what you want. But I guarantee you that is not what Gary's up to.
As a matter of fact, Gary told me he hasn't been with anyone.
Oh, please. He screwed around when you were together. You think he suddenly becomes celibate now that you're apart?
Thanks a lot, Vicky.
Claire opens her car door, but Vicky stops her.
I'm sorry, but this limbo thing you're wallowing in, it's just not healthy. It's time to move on.
Claire gets in, slams the door, and speeds away. Claire's SUV moving, night. Rain pelts the windshield as Claire drives. Toto's I'll Be Over You plays on the radio. Claire sings along, her voice cracking with emotion.
A song I don't know the tune to. Remembering time.
Figure it out.
I could have looked it up.
Yes, it would have been the minimal research.
One of the reasons why nothing stays the same. As soon as my heart stops breaking, anticipating, as soon as forever is through.
And
I'll
it's
be
the
over
same
you.
tune as
And
Mambo
no
number
one
5.
knows any other Toto songs in Africa, guys.
The Africa Dam. Or the Dune soundtrack. That's
Okay.
Toto also.
Also, Rosanna.
Rosanna?
One song.
Yeah.
Toto had a number of hits, Dan. It's time that you learned a little bit about Toto. Interior, Claire's SUV. Driveway with headlights slicing through the rain. She pushes the garage door remote. The door rises about a foot, then stops.
God damn it.
Exterior, Peterson House driveway, night. Claire gets out of the car and struggles to lift the door. She raises it several feet when it slips out of her hands and comes crashing down. She stares at it in disbelief, then lets loose on it, kicking it and beating it with her fists until she breaks into sobs.
Claire.
Claire turns and sees Noah silhouetted by the headlights.
I can't. It's broken.
Noah gently pulls her clear, then thrusts the door up with a spectacular show of force. Interior, Peterson House garage, night. Noah leads Claire in. Both are drenched, their clothes practically transparent in the headlights.
You're soaked.
His eyes travel her wet dress, clinging to her body. She doesn't shrink from his gaze. They hover dangerously close to one another, but Claire suddenly pulls back.
I need to pull the car in.
I'll take care of it. Go inside.
Interior, laundry room. Claire enters. She wipes her hair with a towel, then buries her face in it. She hears the car pull into the garage and the engine go quiet. She tenses, waiting for Noah's knock. Instead, she hears the garage door closing. She peeks out and sees Noah's legs outside as he lowers the garage door. Her keys sit on the step at her feet. Master bedroom, night. Claire enters in her wet clothes, switches on the lights. She starts to draw the curtains, but stops and looks out. Noah's window, dark, lifeless. No way to tell if he's there. She contemplates it. Then, with the curtains still open, she unzips her dress and lets it drop to the floor. She stands there, unflinching, in nothing but lacy black underwear. Slowly, her hands travel to the front of her bra. They tremble as they unhook the clasp. Dan, you gotta mime it. She hesitates, then pulls it open. Her bare breasts spring forth. She breathes heavily, electrifying. Then, gathering all her courage, she slips off her panties. Her naked body stands erect, but quivers with fear and arousal. For what seems like an eternity, she stares out at Noah, completely baring her body and soul. Finally, unable to endure it any longer, she raises both arms and pulls the curtains shut. Alone now, her body shakes uncontrollably. She sinks to her knees, clutches her discarded clothes to her body, and lets out an anguished moan. Dan. Peterson House day. Bright sunshine beats down on Claire, who's on her knees planting flowers in the garden. Noah pulls into his driveway in an old Volvo. He gets out with bags of Chinese takeout.
Wow, those look great.
Last chance for a little color before winter sets in.
That was some storm last night, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thanks for your help.
No problem.
She studies his face for a hint that he saw her at the window. Nothing.
Hey, you've been out here all day. Have you eaten?
No,
I've got plenty. Why don't you join me?
Thanks, but I should...
Come on. You must be starving.
With a smile, he turns and goes inside, leaving the door open. She hesitates for a long moment, then follows him in. Sanborn House kitchen. Claire enters as Noah gathers plates and glasses. She looks around and sees there's no table or chairs in the dining area.
We're still waiting for some of the furniture. I hope you don't mind sitting on the floor.
He pours wine into 2 glasses and offers her one.
Oh, no, I shouldn't. And neither should you.
I've been drinking wine since I was a kid. My mom grew up in France, so she's pretty liberal about things like that.
He takes a sip and holds her glass out to her. She reluctantly takes it, but doesn't drink.
She always said it's nobody's business what people do in the privacy of their own homes.
Clinks his glass against hers and takes another sip. Noah's house kitchen, evening. The light outside has faded. Claire and Noah eat on the floor, laughing, comfortable with each other. Noah pours the last of the wine into Claire's empty glass.
I've been meaning to thank you.
For what?
For watching out for Kevin. Jason Zimmer has had it in for him since grade school.
Zimmer's a punk.
Gary keeps telling him to ignore him. Be the bigger man, he says, but honestly, there's a part of me that wishes Kev would just haul off and belt the kid.
Being the bigger man is a nice concept, but sometimes it's just more important just to be a man.
Noah gazes at Claire, really taking her in.
I've never seen you with your hair like that. It looks nice.
Oh, it's a mess.
You have a little stork bite on the back of your neck.
What?
You know, that little red mark some babies get, they're born with it. It usually goes away, but you still have yours.
He lifts her ponytail and speaks softly near her ear.
Right.
He rubs his finger along the back of her neck. She shivers. He puts his lips to the spot. She closes his eyes for an instant, clearly aroused. Then she pulls away.
No, I can't.
Do you want to?
I need to go.
He gets to her feet. He follows.
Last night, in the window.
You were there.
Claire. You're magnificent.
With that, Claire's defenses crumble. Noah takes her face in his hands and kisses her tenderly. She responds, reluctant at first, then hungrily. He pushes her against the wall, pressing his body against hers. They grope each other, tear each other's clothes. Noah pulls off Claire's shorts, her panties. He finds her, bores into her, pounds her rhythmically. Claire moans. It feels like they skipped a step or two. Finally, abandoning all thoughts of anything but now. Her hands clutch his waist, his buttocks. She pulls him into her and climaxes, wedged between his body and the wall, nowhere else to go. For a long moment, Noah remains pressed against her, his eyes fixed on hers. He kisses her softly, intertwines his fingers with hers, and pulls her toward the stairs. She resists, but with one more tug, she follows. Noah's house, bedroom. It's going further. The door flings open. Claire and Noah stumble in, ripping off what's left of their clothing, their hands, lips, and tongues all over each other. Noah throws Claire onto the bed, kissing her neck, her breast, touching her in ways she hasn't been touched in years. Suddenly, Claire pushes him off. Confusion flashes across Noah's face. But in the next instant, Claire thrusts him down on his back and crawls on top, straddling him. She makes love to him with urgency. Noah groans with pleasure. Noah's house, bedroom, morning. LeBron James comes in and out of focus. Gradually, we realize we're looking at Claire's blurry eyes. LeBron James is not actually in the film. Claire looks.
My real dad.
Although they did capitalize him as if he was a character.
Yeah.
I think they were hoping to get him to play the part of the poster.
Yeah.
He gets to her feet and pulls on some clothes while scanning the room. Trophies, team pennants, sports memorabilia. She stares at a collection of bobble-headed cartoon characters. Oh, so she was with my brother. She touches one and watches his head bob, her face grim. Then she sees a photo of Noah and his mother. They're hugging and smiling. Noah looks about 12. His mother is not a day older than Claire. Claire gapes at it, the horror of what she has done crashing in on her. Noah enters, shirt off, toweling his wet hair.
Morning.
He sees her wan face.
What's wrong?
I have to go.
I thought we could spend the day together.
This was a mistake.
You're having second thoughts. It's normal.
This isn't normal. Nothing about this is normal.
He searches for her shorts, her shoes.
Damn it, where are the rest of my clothes?
Downstairs, remember?
Noah's house, kitchen, morning. Claire races down the stairs, Noah at her heels.
Would you stop for just 1 minute?
He finds her shorts, puts them on.
I am old enough to be your mother.
We have a bond, Claire. Age doesn't matter.
It most certainly does.
Did it last night?
I wasn't thinking clearly last night. I got swept up in the moment. In you, you're very sweet. And I've been so... It was flattering.
It was more than that.
I know this is hard for you to understand right now, but someday when you meet the girl of your dreams,
oh my gosh,
a girl your own age, you'll realize this wasn't meant to be, and I don't want you to think any of this is your fault. I'm the adult. I'm the one who should have...
Stop it. Just stop acting like we did something wrong. No matter what you say, it wasn't wrong.
They stand silent for a long moment.
I hope we can both move past this. I mean, we're neighbors, and I would like us to stay friends.
He looks away, struggling with his emotion.
Are you gonna be okay, Noah? Please look at me.
He slowly turns to her, mustering a pathetic smile.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
Okay. Well...
He gives him an awkward one-armed hug, which he half-heartedly returns. She picks up her shoes and slips out the door. Claire sprints barefoot across Noah's lawn, then back to her house. Claire bursts in and slams the door shut. She leans against it, breathless and shaking. Master bedroom. Claire enters, ripping off her clothes. She turns on the shower and catches a glimpse of herself in the mirror. She stares at her image, her hair a tangled mess, brush burns on her face, a faint hickey on her neck, a total stranger to her own eyes. She stumbles into the shower and stands under the water, Suddenly, she lets out peals of hysterical laughter that just as quickly turn into tears. We watch her until steam crawls across the shower door, obscuring her from view. Kitchen evening. In a frenzy of guilt-abating activity, Claire tends to bubbling pots on the stove and puts the finishing touches on a homemade cake. A car horn beeps. Car horn, not a core horn. I know what that is. A car horn beeps in the driveway. That was my mistake, not the script. She looks up with dread. Driveway. Gary and Kevin get out of the car. Claire steps out, a big smile plastered on her face.
How was it? Did you have fun?
I caught 7 trout.
He didn't look at his PSP once. How'd it go here?
Oh, fine. Uneventful.
Gary hands Kevin his duffel bag, gives him a hug. See you later, kiddo. I had a great time.
Can you stay for dinner? Please, Mom?
Dining room evening, Kevin and Gary regale Claire with stories of their weekend. She seems more relaxed now.
So Dad forgot all the cooking gear.
I could have sworn I packed it.
Lucky for us, I saw this video on YouTube. This mountain dude who lives in a shack in Montana cooks all his food on a shovel wrapped in tinfoil.
Oh, disgusting.
No, it worked.
Seriously, it was like the best meal I ever had. No offense.
They chuckle together like a family. Claire's eyes twinkle.
Well, I don't know if it'll meet your rigorous standards, but I made a cake. Anyone interested?
Sounds great. Kevin and Gary trade a look of surprise as Claire gathers some plates and heads through the swinging door. Claire places the cake on a tray with silverware and plate. She smiles at the laughter of father and son coming from the other room.
You want coffee?
Only if you're having some. She fills a coffee pot with water when the doorbell rings. Claire tenses. She can hear Gary's voice, but not his words. She picks up the tray with the cake and pushes through the door. Sitting at the table with Gary and Kevin is Noah. They laugh together like old friends. They look up at Claire standing frozen in the doorway.
Wow. Doesn't that look tasty?
Claire crosses the threshold with a wavering smile.
Noah, how are you? Gary, this is our new neighbor, Noah?
Yes, we've met. He brought over a part for the bathroom sink.
Oh.
Claire quickly turns her attention to cutting the cake.
I don't know much about plumbing, but the pipe looked pretty bad. You'll have to take a look.
Why didn't you tell me it was leaking?
Well, it just started while you're gone.
Did you tell him about what happened last night?
Claire looks up from the cake to Noah. His eyes toy with her.
With the garage door.
Oh, yes, I almost forgot. It's on the fritz again.
You're kidding me. I just fixed the damn thing.
They don't make them like they used to. That's what my dad always says.
That's what he says, too. Every chance he gets.
Because it's true. Claire hands out plates of cake, then sits next to Gary rather than her original seat, which is now next to Noah. Gary helps Claire with her chair, then casually drapes his arm across its back, giving Claire's shoulder a squeeze. Noah's jaw clenches ever so slightly.
So what did I miss while I was gone? Anything big?
I'll say.
We had a huge thunderstorm on Friday night. Did you guys get it up there?
Nope, dry as a bone at the lake.
Well, it was pretty intense here.
Did you go to McMullen's party?
Nah. Had better things to do.
Like what?
Noah opens his mouth to speak, but Claire again interrupts.
I had dinner with Vicky, that new sushi restaurant.
Oh, how was it? Claire speaks to Gary, but looks at Noah, her words meant as a warning to him.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Really? I heard it's pretty good.
Trust me, you don't want to go there.
Claire takes a drink of water, glowering at Noah over the top of her glass. He returns her gaze. A standoff. Finally, Noah gets to his feet.
Well, it's getting late.
It's only 9.
Don't you have homework, Kevin?
Yeah, but...
I do too, actually. Great to meet you, Mr. Peterson. Let me know if you want any help with that garage door.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. Mouthful of cake. May take you up on that.
See you tomorrow, Kev. Mrs. Peterson.
Noah goes out the door. Nice kid. Claire clatters the plates. Kitchen night. Claire washes the dishes. Gary enters with a corroded pipe. He was right. Caught it just in time. Gary grabs a towel and dries. They work in silence, side by side. So I've been thinking about getting a new job, something where I could cut back on my travel, handle local deals.
Oh, Gary, no. You've worked too hard to give it all up like that.
I just thought if I weren't gone so much.
It was never about that.
But it was. Don't you see? We grew apart. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fix this. I just want to come home.
I don't know.
It was a mistake, Claire. People make mistakes. His words resonate with her now. She turns to him, a flicker of compassion in her eyes.
I know. I need some time.
Interior, Wellington Prep, faculty lounge, morning. Claire pours herself a cup of coffee as teachers bustle in and out. She spots Noah and Kevin out on the field talking to Allie. She watches them. A hand suddenly goes to her shoulder. Huh! Claire jumps, sloshing her coffee. She turns to see Vicky.
Damn it!
Sorry.
Claire dabs herself with napkins. Vicky sees Noah outside.
Enjoying the view, I see.
Don't start.
Jeez, you're a little uptight.
For an instant, Claire looks like she might confide in her, but the moment passes.
I'm late for class.
Claire hurries out the door. Vicky watches her go. Claire's classroom day. Claire enters just as the bell rings.
Okay, take your seats.
She pulls some papers from her briefcase.
I've graded your quizzes. Overall, you did a very nice job.
They hoot with victory, but are soon interrupted by Headmaster Edward Warren, 50s, who enters without knocking.
Mrs. Peterson?
Mr. Warren, what a pleasant...
She stops cold when she sees Noah entering behind him.
Good news. I've approved Noah's transfer to your class. Find yourself a seat, son.
Thank you, sir.
Carry on.
Headmaster Warren goes out the door. Hallway day. Claire follows Headmaster Warren out.
Ed, wait.
He turns impatiently.
We've already covered quite a bit of material.
You said yourself when you requested the transfer that
I didn't
you wanted to.
request the transfer. I merely identified him as a possible candidate.
And you assured me he's a bright boy. His transcript bears you out. I'm sure he'll manage to catch up.
But
you can work with him after school until he does.
He turns and walks off. Peterson House family room. Evening. Kevin and Noah play a deathmatch video game. Stu, which game are you playing in your head for this scene?
It's MK11 right now. I'm obviously Baraka because he's a Tarkartan general, not a lowly foot soldier. And I'm guessing Noah's probably playing Shao Kahn because he's a hammer daddy.
Okay, sounds good to me. Don't know what that means.
Me too.
Sounds of killing fill the air as Claire sets the table for two.
Kevin.
What?
Would you come here?
In a minute.
Now, please.
He waits anxiously until he appears.
What? I'm in the middle of this.
Dinner's ready. Time for you to say goodbye.
I told him he could stay.
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because he's been here all day.
So?
I just think we should have some family time.
God, what is your problem? First you're all mi casa su casa, and now you're kicking him out?
I'm not kicking him out.
Look, I've already invited him. If you don't want him to hear, you can tell him yourself.
Kitchen evening. Claire, Kevin, and Noah sit at the dinner table. The air tense.
Another delicious dinner, Claire. I like what you've done with your potatoes this time.
She doesn't respond.
So, Kev, what do you think about Allie Cambridge?
What do you mean?
Well, she asked me today if you're going to homecoming with anyone. She thinks you're cute.
Claire's eyes dart to Noah with suspicion.
No way.
Seriously, man, she's into you.
What'd you tell her?
I said you were considering several prospects.
Cool.
Kevin laughs uproariously.
You know how lucky you are? You know how lucky you are? She could have anyone, but she chose you. When a girl gives you an opening like that, you gotta jump on it. Isn't that right, Claire?
He looks up at him, her voice cold, her eyes even colder.
It's up to Kevin.
She gets to her feet and empties her plate into the disposal.
Put your dishes in the sink when you're finished.
She walks out. Wilkerson Prep, Claire's classroom day. Rain pummels the windows as Claire works alone at her desk. Vicky enters with a flower arrangement.
Looks like Gary's up to his old tricks again.
Oh, aren't they gorgeous?
He opens the card. Please give me another chance.
What's going on?
He wants to get back together.
And you told him no fucking way, right?
I said I'd think about it.
So that's it? He drops a bundle at FTD and you melt like some lovesick schoolgirl? I can't believe you're falling for this bullshit.
I've been married to this man for 17 years, Vicky. You haven't had a relationship that lasts more than 6 months. Maybe it's time you worry about yourself for a change.
Vicky steps back, sunned by her venom. I assume it's supposed to be stunned by her venom. Claire's edge softens.
He messed up, okay? Everybody does. Sometimes you have to try to get past it.
I sure as hell hope you know what you're doing.
She walks out. Claire picks up her cell phone and dials. Restaurant day, packed with a noisy lunch crowd. Gary dines with several businessmen when his phone rings. He sees it's Claire. Excuse me. He moves to an equally loud lobby area, seems like a lateral move then, and answers. Hi. Intercut with Claire in her classroom.
Did I catch you at a bad time?
Not at all.
I wanted to thank you for the flowers. They're beautiful.
He presses his finger to his free ear. What's that?
I said thank you for the flowers.
Flowers? She struck silent, her mind racing. Claire?
You know what? I've got to go. Let me call you back.
Claire hangs up and glares at the flowers. She picks them up and stuffs them into the wastebasket. Workers in prep exterior day. Still raining. Kids huddle under the eaves waiting for rides. Claire pulls up in the SUV and honks. Kevin runs toward her. Claire's SUV day. As soon as Kevin hops in, Claire pulls away from the curb.
Hey, what about Noah?
What about him?
We drove him this morning. How's he going to get home?
If you wanted a ride, he should have been out here on time.
But he's counting on...
She looks at him in the rearview mirror, her face stern.
I'm not arguing with you about this, Kevin.
Look out!
Claire looks to the road and sees Noah standing directly in front of them. She slams on the brakes, missing him by a hair. Noah and Claire exchange an intense look through the rain-streaked windshield. Kevin opens the door, calls to Noah.
Come on, get in.
Noah gets into the back seat.
Sorry, man. We didn't think you were coming.
Yeah, my fault for being late.
His eyes meet Claire's in the rearview mirror, accusing her. Claire's eyes dart away. Peterson House driveway day. Claire pulls in. Kevin and Noah jump out with their backpacks and run into the house. Claire sits there watching the rain before forcing herself to go in. Foyer. Claire enters to find Noah waiting for her.
Claire.
You need to go home.
Claire heads toward the kitchen, but Noah blocks her way.
What's wrong?
I think you know.
Mom, are there any more of these quesadillas? Mom,
I need quesadillas for my PSP.
Son, you sound like you've never heard of what quesadillas are before.
Mom.
Be right there.
No, I don't. I swear.
Those flowers, Noah, what were you even thinking?
They were a peace offering.
You expect me to believe that?
Well, yeah.
Okay, assuming that's what it was, did you think for 1 minute about how it would look? A student sending a teacher flowers.
Well, that's why I didn't sign the card.
Oh, you're a real piece of work. You know that?
Okay, maybe sending flowers was a bad idea, but give me a break. I have no idea what you want me to do here.
What? You just stop it. I want you to forget any of this ever happened.
Claire, listen.
No, I don't want to talk about this again, Noah. Not ever. And from now on, you're to call me Mrs. Peterson.
He turns and walks out. Master bedroom night. Claire reads in bed when she hears the sound of pebbles hitting the window. She gets up and sees Gary down in the yard. She opens the window.
Gary? What in the world?
I didn't want to wake Kev. Kitchen night. At the door, Gary presents Claire with a bouquet of gardenias.
Oh, Gary, they're gorgeous.
And it's not just because some other guy beat me to it.
There is no other guy. Another teacher's flowers were delivered to me by mistake, that's all.
Guess I should take it as a good sign you thought they were from me. She fills a vase with water. He hovers, gazing at her nightgown, her freshly scrubbed face. Were you asleep?
Just reading a little.
He moves close, runs his hand along her arm. I miss seeing you like this. They hold a long look, then fall into a passionate kiss. Gary's hands travel down Claire's back to her buttocks. He pulls her against him. Their breathing becomes heavy. Claire opens her eyes for just a second and sees Noah watching them through the window of the back door. His face is tight, his eyes menacing. Claire pushes Gary away. Gary turns and spots Noah. And in that instant, Noah's sullen expression changes to a sheepish grin. Gary swings the door open. Hey, Noah.
Hi, Mr. Peterson. So sorry to interrupt, but I think I left my cell phone here.
It's a little late.
I know, but I saw the light on, and my dad's supposed to call from Qatar. Cutter.
Before Claire can protest, Noah heads into the adjoining family room. Cutter? What's he doing there?
Some big hotel development he's working on.
Noah bends down in front of the couch, blocking Claire's and Gary's view of him, and searches the cushions. He slips the phone out of his pocket and drops it underneath the couch.
Here it is.
Noah holds up the phone triumphantly and returns to the kitchen where he spots Gary's flowers.
Nice flowers.
Gardenias, Claire's favorite. Gary wraps his arm around Claire's waist and kisses her. She smiles, uncomfortable, and pulls away.
Even nicer than the ones you got at school.
I was just telling Mr. Peterson that those were delivered to me by mistake.
Oh, right.
You got a girlfriend, Noah?
Not really.
A good-looking guy like you probably have your pick of them.
Got my eye on someone at school, but she doesn't seem interested.
Don't let that stop you. She's probably just playing hard to get. Women love to make us guys suffer.
Gary, it's late. I'm sure Noah needs to get to sleep.
Gary glanced at his watch. I would say Larry glances at his watch. That doesn't make sense. Gary glances at his watch. Oh, right. Me too. Big meeting in the morning. He gives Claire a pat. See you later. Come on, kiddo. He puts his arm around Noah's shoulder and escorts him out. Noah glances back at Claire, his eyes dark. Claire shuts the door behind them. If this was a real thriller, now Noah would seduce Gary too, but that doesn't happen. Wilkerson Prep, Claire's classroom day. Claire sits on her desk in front of her students, holding a copy of Oedipus the King. That's right, they translated the title. She avoids eye contact with Noah.
So what do you think Sophocles was trying to teach the Greeks through this play?
Noah raises his hand, but Claire searches for someone else. She sees Hallie whispering to the girl next to her.
Hallie.
I don't know.
Give it a shot.
Maybe that you can't change your fate.
Yes, Hallie, excellent. Throughout the story, we see Oedipus trying to avoid his fate, yet it continually catches up with him, doesn't it?
Noah raises his hand again, but Claire ignores it.
So perhaps the story is meant to show how powerless man is against the gods.
Yeah, well, I had a different take on the whole thing.
Claire visibly stiffens at the interruption, but not like in a sexual way. Stiffens in a it's awkward way.
I think Oedipus's downfall was caused by everybody turning a blind eye to the facts. I mean, we all know you can't ignore the truth for long before it comes back and bites you in the ass.
His tone is confrontational, his smile taunting. As Claire struggles to maintain her composure, the bell rings and students jump to their feet.
We'll continue this tomorrow.
The class files out while Claire races the board, but Noah lingers. When the last student is gone, he approaches.
What the hell was that?
What are you talking about?
You kept blowing me off.
He whips out a paper from his binder.
And a D on the essay?
You didn't write about the topic I assigned. You're lucky I didn't give you an F.
Did you even...
She gathers up her things and goes to the door. He follows.
Did you even read it? My topic was way better than the one that you gave.
That's beside the point. You need to learn to follow the rules, Noah.
He grabs her arm before she makes it out the door.
Oh, like you do.
Let go of me.
He does, reluctantly. She hurries out. Hallway. Noah storms out of Claire's classroom, balling up the essay in his fist. A student calls out his name, but he ignores him and keeps going, his face enraged. He turns the corner and spots Kevin, his back pressed up against the lockers by Jason Zimmer. He swats him upside the head every time he opens his mouth to speak. Noah's look turns rabid. He charges at Jason, grabs him by the collar, and slams him face first into the lockers.
Hey, it's okay. He was just...
But Noah bashes Jason's face with his fist, an absolute look of madness in his eyes. Kevin watches with a combination of horror and awe. Other students gather at a distance. Jason lands a punch or two, but he's no match for Noah's torrent of fury. Soon enough, Jason falls to the floor, face down, barely moving. Noah pulls Jason's head up by the hair and hisses into his ear.
He's mine. Understand?
Jason blinks, utterly confused. Noah lets Jason's head drop to the floor, then gives him a kick in the gut for good measure. He turns to Kevin.
Go ahead. Give it all you got.
No, it's enough.
Pussy. Just like your old man.
He turns and stalks off. Kevin stares after him. Headmaster's office. Claire enters to find Kevin slumped in a chair. Mr. Warren paces in front of him.
What's going on?
Noah Sanborn and Jason Zimmer exchanged blows earlier this morning. Noah is in the nurse's office and Jason is on his way to the hospital.
Kevin, were you involved in this?
It appears he's the only bystander who saw how the fight started, so I'm counting on him to enlighten me.
Kevin sits mute, wanting no part of this.
Kevin?
Kevin looks to the floor, silent.
Then I have no choice but to suspend both of them.
Jason was being a jerk to me again. Noah tried to stop him.
How?
He told Zimmer to knock it off. That's when Zimmer popped him.
So Jason threw the first punch? You're absolutely certain?
Noah was only defending himself.
Peterson House, Kevin's room, night. Kevin brushes his teeth. In his room, he has his own bath. Claire knocks, then enters.
You can just brush your teeth in bed.
Yeah.
Really, you can do it anywhere if you don't care what happens.
Usually you want to be at a place where you can spit. I don't have a place in my bedroom.
I've got a basin, yeah.
You don't care what happens.
I think we should talk.
About what?
Jason has been suspended for a week.
Now, the funny thing here is that she doesn't need to talk about Kevin. She needs to talk to Kevin. Kevin shrugs, spits.
I realize what a tough spot Mr. Warren and I put you in. It would have been hard to rat on Noah if he'd been the one who started that fight.
What's going to happen to Noah?
A week's detention, and he's not allowed to go to homecoming.
He wasn't going anyway.
He gets into bed.
The suspension will go on Jason's permanent record, just as he's applying to colleges. It could really hurt his future.
Yeah, well, sometimes you get what you deserve.
He rolls away from her, I assume on top of his toothbrush. She lingers, wanting to sing there. But she turns out the light and leaves. Exterior, woods, trail clearing day. Claire runs along the ravine, pushing herself, working off steam. As usual, she leaps over the fallen sycamore in the clearing, completing her run. Breathing deeply, she stretches against the fallen sycamore when she spots the carving of her and Gary's initials. It's been gouged out with a knife, completely obliterated. Claire stares at it, agitated, her mind racing. Suddenly, a branch cracks somewhere behind her, the sound echoing through the trees. She whirls around and scans the woods. Nothing. Not even a squirrel. Thoroughly spooked, she turns and runs toward the house. Peterson House, day. Claire emerges from the woods into her backyard when she sees Noah's father in his driveway getting into his Audi.
Mr. Sanborn.
Claire hurries to catch him, but by the time she gets to the house, he's already heading down the street. Claire runs inside and returns with her keys. She hops into a car and heads in the same direction. Claire's SUV. Claire drives, searching for the Audi. She comes to a busy intersection and spots it, sitting at a light a couple of blocks to her left. She changes lanes to make the turn when her light changes red. She slams on the brakes.
Damn it.
After a moment, the Audi gets a green light and continues on. Claire waits impatiently for hers to turn.
Come on.
When her light turns green, she guns it, cutting in front of oncoming traffic to make the left-hand turn. Now she has some serious catching up to do. She weaves in and out, but heavy traffic keeps her at a distance. Without warning, the Audi turns and pulls into a parking garage underneath a 15-story office building. Claire immediately changes lanes. Horns honk, tires squeal. She's forced to drive past the building. She parks illegally and rushes towards the building. Interior, office building atrium, day. Claire enters and scans the bustling crowd. She spots Noah's father heading to an elevator, his back to her.
Mr. Sanborn.
She catches up to him just as he's about to board.
Please, I need to speak to you.
Claire puts her hand to his shoulder and he turns to face her. To her astonishment, it's a complete stranger.
I'm sorry, I thought you were...
He gets on the elevator and the doors close between them. Claire turns back to the vast atrium teeming with people, but Mr. Sanborn is nowhere to be seen. Wilkerson Prep Gymnasium, night. Cheesy decorations, loud thumping music. Students dressed in semi-formal attire bump and grind. Claire and Vicky stand against a wall, acting as chaperones. Vicky watches Kevin and Hallie dance. Kevin is awkward and far too enthusiastic. Hallie tries hard not to look embarrassed.
Kevin certainly has come out of his shell.
Keep asking myself what she's doing with him.
What? He's sweet, he's smart, he's got a lot of potential.
I don't think most girls that age put too much stock in potential, especially girls like that.
Yeah, I was sure she had Noah in her sights.
A long beat as she studies Claire.
Speaking of Noah,
What?
I don't want you to take my head off or anything, but I heard a couple of the girls talking.
Claire turns to her, alarmed.
Just gossipy bullshit, but they seem to be under the impression that you two are quite the item.
What?
And after I called dibs on him.
This is serious.
Oh, come on. You know how kids talk. I can't even count the number of times I've heard rumors like that about me. I just thought you should know.
A girl comes up to them.
Miss Peterson, we're out of punch.
I'll go.
No, I could use a breather.
Exterior night, empty, dark. The dance music is distant and hollow. Claire's heels echo. A noise. She stops. Listens. Nothing. Walk-in refrigerator night. Claire pulls open the heavy steel door and flicks on the light. Her breath forms a cloud in the cold air. She spots a jug of punch on a shelf and goes for it. Suddenly the door slams shut. She jumps, startled. She looks around. She's all alone, but somehow it doesn't feel like it. She grabs the punch and rushes to the door, but the handle doesn't budge. With rising panic, she jiggles the handle and bangs on the door. Finally, the handle clicks and turns. She flings the door open and runs out, letting it slam shut behind her. Hallway. Claire hurries back to the gym when Noah steps out from a dark corner. His eye is swollen from the fight.
You're not supposed to be here.
We need to talk.
He pulls her into a shadowy alcove. Claire tries to get away, but he shoves her up against the wall.
Your behavior is completely unacceptable.
My behavior?
So that shithead husband of yours suddenly wants to come crawling back and you decide you don't need me anymore? You're just done with me?
I thought we agreed that you...
We didn't agree. You agreed. And suddenly I'm nothing to you. Like what we had never even happened.
Just calm down and listen.
I'm good for you, Claire. I can take care of you.
I don't need you to.
You do need me. Kevin needs me. Who got him a date to the dance? Who handled Jason Zimmer? Would Gary have done that? Big man Kitty would fix the fucking garage door.
He pounds his fist into the wall next to her head. She winces with fear.
I'm sorry, but I love you. And you know you love me. You're just scared.
He presses up against her and tries kissing her. She pushes him away. Undeterred, he goes for her again. This time she slaps him hard across the face. He stares at her, stunned.
It was one night. It's not love.
Suddenly, the gym door bangs open off screen and students' laughter fills the hall. Ha ha!
Stay away from Kevin, too.
She rushes back into the gym. Noah remains in the shadows, his jaw clenched. Interior Volkswagen Bug, night. Allie parks in front of the Peterson house. Kevin, in the passenger seat, looks to the light glowing in the window.
Is he waiting up for you?
Nah, I pretty much come and go as I please.
He cringes at how ridiculous that sounded.
Anyway, I had a really good time tonight.
Yeah, me too.
He pulls a CD from his breast pocket and hands it to her. It's a big breast pocket.
For you.
What is it?
It's me. My music, I mean. God.
Okay.
Go ahead. Play it.
Ow.
Kevin slips the disc into the car's CD player. A Metallica song played by a string quartet pours from the speakers. Probably something ballady like Fade to Black. It's astonishingly good.
This is you?
On the cello.
Oh.
He smiles.
Pretty good.
No, he smiles, embarrassed but delighted.
I'd like to play professionally someday. That's my dream, anyway.
Cool.
Well, thanks for going with me. And driving.
I'm sorry.
He leans in and gives her a tender kiss. She blinks with surprise and kisses him back.
Yeah, no problem.
Kevin gets out of the car but becomes tangled up in the seatbelt. He shuts the door. He shuts the door looks through the open window.
Kevin poops in his pants and barfs at the same time.
Well,
He says
Hallie
his
is probably
butthole.
shocked by this.
Oh.
Hallie waves and pulls away. A stunned smile broadens across Kevin's face. Peterson House kitchen. Kevin enters, adrenaline pumping.
So how did it go?
She's really cool. I mean, she just gets it, and you should have seen how much she dug my music.
You let her listen to your...
Yeah, I gave her a CD.
Wow, Kev, that's big.
He sees the wariness in her eyes.
What?
Nothing.
You don't like her, do you?
Of course I do.
Noah said you wouldn't.
Well, Noah's wrong. I know she dates a lot of boys, and I don't want you to be disappointed.
God, you can't just let me enjoy this for 1 minute, can you?
Oh, honey, I didn't mean to.
Fine, whatever.
He turns and stomps up the stairs.
I just want to say that the next stage direction is sotto voce. Shit.
Peterson House. Very well done, Dan. Very soda.
Mhm.
Peterson House, front yard day. A mulcher roars as Claire stuffs armfuls of leaves into its mouth. She watches them being chewed to bits. A hand suddenly touches her shoulder. Startled, she spins around to find Gary. She shuts off the machine.
You scared me to death.
Sorry, I called your name. Is Kev ready? Her face is blank. The game? Peterson House kitchen. Claire and Gary enter. I've got an extra ticket. Thought Kev might want to invite Noah.
Oh, I don't think Noah's around.
His car is out there.
I saw him leave a little while ago. Someone picked him up.
Too bad. I hate for this thing to go to waste. It's the ticket.
Maybe you can sell it.
Maybe you'd like to come along? There's no hiding the hope in his eyes. Peterson House driveway. Claire, Gary, and Kevin, dressed in Chicago Blackhawks jersey, get into Gary's car. As they pull away, Noah watches them from his bedroom window. Interior United Center evening. Blackhawks versus Sabres. I don't remember any of this. Blackhawks versus
It's so
Sabres.
different.
Yeah. Claire, Gary, and Kevin sit close to the ice. You cold?
I'm fine.
You got goosebumps all over. Gary puts his jacket around Claire's shoulders and rubs her arms. She allows herself to sing into him, just a little. Gary spots a beer vendor and flags him down. 2 over here! Gary passes a beer to Claire. She sips it judiciously. Gary takes a sip of his own, then hands his cup to Kevin.
You can't give him that.
A couple of swigs won't kill him. Kevin gulps it.
Kevin.
God, it's just beer. Noah's allowed to drink, and harder stuff than this.
I don't care what Noah does. You are not Noah.
Claire, calm down.
I'm sorry. It's a slippery slope. That's all.
You're right. Gary takes the beer from Kevin. Kevin rolls his eyes. So how about these seats, Kev?
Awesome.
What if I told you they're ours this year?
You bought season tickets?
Sure did.
But you always said they'd be a waste because of how many games you'd miss.
Things change. The crowd goes wild as the Blackhawks score. Gary and Kevin jump to their feet.
Go Blackhawks.
Did you see that?
Way to go, Kopecky. Gary and Kevin high five. Gary's a player, I assume. Gary sits down, sips his beer. His eyes are on the game, deliberately avoiding Claire's gaze.
What's changed?
Huh?
You said things changed.
Did I? His eyes twinkle with mischief.
Okay, out with it. What's going on?
I left Keener in Wales.
What?
Were you fired?
No, just thought it was time for a change. I took a position at a smaller firm where I won't have to travel anymore.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought so. Peterson House kitchen night. The house is dark and quiet. Claire and Gary sit at the table over cups of coffee. I told them I want to focus on developing local projects, and they're fine with that. I can even work from home if I want.
I've never seen you so excited about your job before.
It's more than the job. It's like I've taken back control of my life. He takes her hands in his. We're not getting any younger, Claire. Kev will be off to college in a couple years. I don't want to waste any more time being apart. She stares at their intertwined fingers, their wedding rings still on their fingers. Do you think you'll ever be able to love me again?
Oh, Gary, I've never stopped loving you.
She caresses his face and pulls him to her, kissing him softly, then more and more passionately, until there's no stopping. Peterson House master bedroom night. Claire and Gary move together, making love. They look into each other's eyes, deeply connected. Suddenly, Claire grips him tightly, moans fervently.
Gary. Oh.
Her sound spurs him on. He thrusts into her, overwhelmed by wild desire for her. Claire thrills at his newly awakened aggression. She arches her back and grabs onto the headboard, white-knuckled, gasping for air, as items, alarm clock, photos, books, topple from the built-in shelves. They orgasm in unison, both crying out with pleasure.
Oh, no!
Gary,
Oh no.
they breathe together.
Orgasm in unison.
It's
I
very
can't
different. Their
I
bodies,
just this that a woman wrote sex scenes this bad.
look, it's a rough draft probably. Their bodies exhausted, their faces radiant.
Guys, I didn't want to break character before, but my goal with that last noise was to make everyone deeply uncomfortable. How was it? Can we get a performance review?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You didn't
Perfect,
arch
nailed
your
it.
back at all.
I
I was
know.
expecting a little bit more.
I know.
Yeah. I would maybe
Don't
flip your hair
physically
back.
commit to much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his lovemaking technique too. He doesn't physically commit to much.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Picking up. You think we broke something?
Nah, just give it a couple of minutes. He grins.
Okay,
out.
wait, hold on. I didn't get this line. I read it over and over again. Does he mean his dick?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But she's
Yeah.
worried she snapped it
But
off.
she meant she meant the furniture, but he meant his penis.
You
Yeah.
meant, like a celery stalk.
Mhm.
He,
Okay.
Why do they have so much stuff over their bed?
they
It
don't
was
do
like
it
a
that
mistake.
much, Jenny. It hasn't been a problem up till this point.
Yeah.
He grins
Yeah.
down,
Because he just going through the motions until now.
Yeah.
hits him, and slips into a fit of giggles. Peterson House master. So I assume it was a light hit, not like what she gave to know earlier. Peterson House master bedroom night. Claire and Gary sleep intertwined, deep contentment on their faces. Suddenly, loud music from outside wakes Claire. Claire creeps out of bed, careful not to wake Gary. She goes to the window and peeks out. Noah's bedroom. The lights are on, the window ajar. Noah appears bare-chested. He unzips his jeans and wiggles out of them. Claire quickly turns away, about to close the curtains when she hears a girl's laughter. Claire turns back and sees Hallie in Noah's room, kneeling down in front of Noah, her head moving back and forth rhythmically. She's giving him a, all capitals, blowjob. Claire's standing there.
She capitalizes blowjob like it's a character.
LeBron James.
Is that a prop or a character? I don't think
Parisian
A
tap.
location.
Might be a sound. A deer caught in the ambient light of Noah's room. Noah's eyes fix on Claire, his face angry and spiteful. Horrified, Claire snaps the curtain shut. Peterson House kitchen morning. Claire slides a plate of eggs in front of Gary. He looks invigorated, like a new man. She looks drained. Thanks, honey. They look great. Gary pulls Claire to him and kisses her. She gives him a hollow smile, then wanders to the coffee pot. Her eyes stray out the window to Noah's house. Kevin bounds down the stairs. His face lights up when he sees Gary.
Hey, Dad, what are you doing here?
Well, I stayed over last night.
Oh, did
really?
Mom break your dick? Cool.
It's okay. It just took a couple minutes.
So, what? Are things going back to normal around here with your dick?
Kevin looks to Claire for an answer.
Yeah, honey. Dad's coming home.
If that's okay with you.
Are you kidding me?
Driveway morning. Claire and Gary kiss goodbye. Gary's lips linger like a lover's. I'll be home. It's okay. They're married, Jordan.
I think marriage. I find marriage gross.
There's several points where the stage directions are like a family, like lovers. I'm like, well, they are literally all of these things that they're anyway.
Gary gets into his car and drives off. Claire waves, smiling. Claire turns to get into her own car and sees Noah glowering at her from his driveway.
What a fucking little whore you are. Just like Kevin's little girlfriend.
Claire is stunned, speechless. She scrambles into a car and slams the door. She honks the horn. Kevin rushes out of the house with his backpack and cello.
I'm coming.
He sees Noah.
Hey, bro, you want to ride?
In the car, Kevin.
But I was just...
Get in the car.
Kevin obeys, mortified. Noah smirks. Claire rolls up the window and backs out. Claire's explorer, moving. Kevin returns to Claire.
Geez, what's the big rush?
Gonna be late.
No, we're not.
They drive in silence for a long while.
Honey, I'd like you to stay away from him.
What? Why?
He's a bad influence.
Oh, you've got to be...
All the fighting And
I told you Zimmer started that.
Kevin, you're just going to have to trust me on this.
No, you're not telling me who I can and can't be friends with.
He's not your friend.
Bullshit.
Kevin,
Stop the car.
you just listen to me.
Stop the friggin' car.
Kevin starts to open the door, forcing Claire to stop. He grabs his backpack and gets out.
Kevin, please don't use words like friggin'.
Kevin slams the door and stalks off down the street. Does he have his cello with him? It's not answered. Almost immediately, Noah's Volvo pulls up to the curb ahead of Claire. The car door swings open and Kevin gets in. Claire watches them drive off. Interior, Wilkerson Prep, Claire's classroom day. Students laugh and chatter, ignoring the ringing bell. Ring, ha ha. Claire races in. Her eyes darting, empty.
Okay, everybody.
Hallie giggles with a hot guy behind her.
Miss Cambridge, would mind?
Hallie turns to the front with a smug smile.
As I said last class, we'll be watching Oedipus the King today. I advise you to pay attention. You'll be tested on this.
On the movie, Claire inserts a DVD into a player and heads to the back with a remote control.
Someone get the lights, please.
Claire starts the movie as the lights go out. Claire's classroom later, students' attention wanes as the movie drones on. On screen, Oedipus and Jocasta, his wife and mother, embrace with joy upon hearing that the dreaded prophecy that Oedipus would kill his father and sleep with his mother was wrong.
As for marrying your mother, you are not the first man to have that dream. Every man is his mother's lover in his imagination or in reality.
Just then, Jocasta's words are replaced by the lusty moans of a woman. Claire's students stir with confusion, then erupt in giggles as it becomes clear that the dialogue has been dubbed over with the frenetic sounds of two people having sex. These kids can't possibly recognize the lovers' groans as Claire's and Noah's, but Claire does. She rushes to the DVD player, pounding on the remote, but the scene continues. The noise is growing more feverish by the second. The students hoot and holler as Claire frantically pushes a button.
Blackhawks.
Finally, the TV screen goes blank and the DVD pops out. But it's total bedlam now.
Quiet! Now!
Honk, honk.
The room goes silent, except for a few lingering snickers.
Start on your homework.
Claire hurries out, DVD in hand. The students erupt again. Interior, Wilkerson Prep, lavatory, day.
Some external stage
Which-
left
Sorry,
directions
this is
or
the part of the script where my son comes in to say goodnight. Okay, now he's going. She because that scene was not appropriate. Lavatory day. Claire storms in and locks herself in a stall. With a crazed look in her eye, she rips the DVD apart. Whoa, rips it like down the middle.
like a phone book.
A piece of bread.
And throws
Probably
the piece into the
Probably
toilet.
from the library. She's going to be in trouble.
She flushes with her foot over and over again, watching the shards gradually swirl down the drain. She looks down at her hands, trembling and bleeding. Wilkerson Prep track day. A whistle blows and runners take off around the track. Claire, hands bandaged, tromps across the field to Noah, who sits on the bleachers with a couple of other boys.
I need to speak with you.
Busy right now, Mrs. Peterson, with physical education. I believe you're familiar with the subject.
The boys snicker at his audacity.
Okay, you're coming with me.
He grabs his arm and jerks him to his feet.
Oh, hey, take it easy.
His protests attract the attention of Mr. Schmidt, the overweight PE teacher who stands some distance away. Claire pulls Noah over to the side of the bleachers.
Tape recorded us?
Just for my own pleasure at first.
What is this? Are you trying to punish me? Because if you think for 1 minute that I'm...
Mr. Schmidt suddenly appears.
Sanborn, you're up.
Noah heads off. Mr. Schmidt lingers, an uneasiness in his eyes.
Everything all right, Claire?
Yes. Fine.
He hurries away. Peterson House driveway evening. Claire pulls in behind Gary's car. Noah's house looms over her as she unloads groceries. Peterson House kitchen evening. Monday Night Football blares from a TV as Claire lugs grocery bags through the door. She sees boxes of Gary's things stacked against the wall.
I'm home.
In here. Peterson House family room. Claire enters to find Kevin and Gary eating pizza and watching the game. Kevin refuses to look her way.
Sorry, I wasn't here to help you with your stuff.
It's okay. The boys gave me a hand. Off screen, a toilet flushes. Noah emerges from a nearby bathroom, hands unwashed, it seems.
Hi, Mrs. Peterson.
Noah deliberately brushes up against her as he passes. He plops down on the couch next to Gary.
What'd I miss?
It's first and third. Come sit down, honey. Have some za.
Yeah, there's plenty.
I apologize. That was a little artistic license on my part. Gary is saying pizza, not za. Noah scoots over to create a space between himself and Gary. He pats the couch.
No, I've got groceries.
She wanders out of the room. Peterson house, kitchen evening. Claire puts the groceries away. Noah enters and helps himself to a soda from the refrigerator.
Do we have any chips?
He searches through the bags and pulls some out. Claire grabs them from him.
You can eat your own chips in your own home.
She turns her back on him, stuffing the chips into the cupboard. He comes up behind her, breathes on her.
Come over here. No, sorry. Come over tonight. After they're asleep. Say 3 o'clock.
Go fuck yourself.
Let's see. Who would you first prefer I show our video to? Gary? Or maybe Kevin?
Yeah.
Claire's tough facade instantly crumbles. Then, just as he's about to call it to Kevin again,
Don't.
without taking his eyes off of Claire, Noah calls to Kevin.
You want a soda?
Yeah, and bring some chips.
Noah reaches past Claire to the chips, pressing her against the counter.
I'll leave the light on.
He grabs another soda and heads back to Gary and Kevin, whistling a light-hearted tune. Peterson house, master bedroom night. In bed, Gary wakes from a sound sleep and reads the alarm clock. 2:55 a.m. He rolls over and sees Claire's side empty. He sits up, blinking in the dark, and spots Claire sitting in a chair in the shadows. Claire, what's wrong?
I can't sleep.
Come back to bed. Claire goes to him and sits on the bed.
Gary, you know how you said that people make mistakes?
He nods, still half asleep.
While we were separated.
Claire, I don't need to hear this. I don't want to hear it.
But
we can't keep dwelling on the past. It's not good for us. He kisses her and pulls back the blankets. Come on, get him. She does, reluctantly. Oh, sweetie, you're freezing. He spoons her, holding her tight, warming her. Her face is pained, guilt-ridden.
I love you, Gary.
I love you too. He kisses her head and content smile on his face. Claire stares straight ahead, wide awake. Interior, Wilkerson Prep hallway, morning. The bell rings as Claire races to her classroom where students wait outside.
Sorry, everybody.
She unlocks the door and begins to open it. On the floor, just inside the doorway, she glimpses a large, glossy photo of her and Noah having sex. Claire pushes the students back into the hall.
Give me a minute, guys.
Claire's classroom day. Claire steps inside and locks the door behind her. The sound of a computer printer going full tilt fills the room. She flicks on the lights and stares with horror. Sex photos are everywhere, papering the walls, sticking out of desks and file cabinets, stapled to the American flag. Let me just say, now he's going too far. Scrawled across the chalkboard in a manic hand. Once more I must bring what is dark to light. Oedipus the King, 804. Wilkerson Prep hallway day. Outside, students step aside for Headmaster Warren. He bangs on Claire's door and rattles the knob.
Mrs. Peterson?
You locked us out.
Wilkerson Prep Claire's classroom day. Claire races around, gathering photos and stuffing them into her briefcase.
Mrs. Peterson, open this door.
Just a minute.
She gathers the last of the photos and she goes for the door when she notices the printer, churning out an endless stream of sex photos, each frame slightly different from the previous one, a frame-by-frame chronicle of their one-night stand. Now, imagine he must put so much work into choosing each frame and individually setting it to print.
Well, also,
I have so much trouble using any kind of printer.
Just think about the technology needed to, print out a new picture each time. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he didn't have a 3D printer.
Oh my God. As if.
I hear you can do this all with a PSP.
Oh, shit.
Come on.
Blackhawks.
Wilkerson Prep hallway day. Headmaster Warren pulls a key ring from his pocket and searches for the master key, not like the master of us all, the Lord. Yeah. Wilkerson Prep, Claire's classroom day. Claire stuffs printer pages into a drawer, then yanks the plug of the printer from the wall. The machine dies in the midst of printing one last photo. She hears the key turning the lock. Wilkerson Prep hallway day. Headmaster Warren turns the knob just as Claire swings the door open, breathless and disheveled. Students push past her into the room. Her eyes follow them.
What's going on here? The bell rang 5 minutes ago.
I must not have heard it.
She glances down and sees one of the photos face down under Headmaster Warren's foot.
You know, classroom doors are not to be locked during school hours.
He steps into the room and looks around. Claire barely breathes as Warren's eyes travel past the partially printed photo in the printer and land on a Sophocles quote that Noah scribbled on the board. He turns back to Claire.
I'd like to see you in my office after class.
What for?
We'll discuss it then.
He turns to go when he finally notices the photo underfoot. He bends to pick it up, but Claire gets to it first and quickly folds it up.
I'll be there.
Wilkerson Prep Headmaster's office day. Claire enters and is greeted by a haggard secretary, Loretta, 58.
Go on in, hon. He should be back any minute.
Seems like haggard and earlier overweight, unnecessary, these descriptions. In her office. Claire enters and sits in a guest chair, facing a long wall of cabinets labeled student files. Her eyes settle on the drawer labeled R through S. Claire glances through the open door to Loretta, who speaks on the phone, her back turned. Claire sneaks to the cabinet and pulls open the file drawer. It screeches! She freezes with panic, but hears Loretta still on the phone. She rifles through the files until finding Noah's. She pulls out a transcript from Bayview High School in Milwaukee. All A's. In a section entitled Disciplinary Action, there is simply the entry, none. She scans a family history document and spots his mother's name, Rebecca Sanborn, and the notation, deceased, next to it. Her eye travels to his father's name, Charles Sanborn. Next to it appears the same notation, deceased.
Deceased.
Outer office. Headmaster Warren enters, grabs some message slips from Loretta.
Mrs. Peterson is waiting in your office.
Hold my calls. My many calls that I receive as headmaster of this school.
He peruses his messages as he goes into the inner office. Claire now sits innocently in the guest chair. Warren shuts the door.
What's this about, Ed?
He sits down behind his desk, his face grim.
I want you to know what's been going on between... Excuse me. I want to know what's been going on between you and Noah Sanborn.
What do you mean?
Mike Schmidt reported an incident yesterday on the field.
Oh, that. It was nothing. I was reprimanding him for skipping class.
Mike said you got physical with him. You grabbed him.
I may have pulled his arm a little just to get his attention.
You know what our policy is regarding physical contact with students.
Yes, of course, but...
Frankly, I'm more than a little concerned. What with all the interest you took in him early on, one might assume that...
Nothing more than I would for any student who wanted to be in my class.
And then there's... this.
He slides her a photo of a wall covered in graffiti. Phrases such as, I fucked Mrs. Peterson and Claire Peterson is one great lay. She stares in disbelief.
It was on the wall of the boys' lavatory across from your room. I've had it painted over, but I intend to speak to the boys in your class about it, including Noah.
Come on, Ed. You start questioning the boys and you're just going to fuel the flames of a ridiculous rumor.
This is a serious matter.
I'm sure I'm not the first teacher whose name has appeared on the bathroom wall. That's what boys do.
I'm not questioning your integrity, Claire, but we can't tolerate even an appearance of impropriety without a thorough investigation. It's for your own protection.
That's bullshit, and you know it.
Claire?
Ken, this is anything more than you trying to cover your ass, even though I fucked a student. You talk to the boys, and you can expect a call from my union rep.
Claire storms out. Wilkerson Prep, library day. Claire walks through the aisles, her eyes scanning for Noah. She seats herself at a faraway computer terminal and logs on. She accesses the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel newspaper archives. She types in the name Charles Sanborn. An obituary from 3 years earlier pops up. A photo of Charles Sanborn, 55, depicts a stern man with flinty eyes and thin lips. Claire scans the article and we see the phrases self-inflicted gunshot wound and ruled accidental. Claire gapes at the screen. It was an accidental self-inflicted gunshot wound. Wilkerson Prep, cafeteria day. Claire and Vicky huddle over their lunches in a faraway corner.
Now he's threatening to show it to Gary if I don't continue to go along.
Oh, Jesus, Claire.
Vicky sits back, the wind knocked out of her.
I can't go to the police. They could arrest me rightfully for sleeping with a minor.
That is such bullshit. He's not some innocent little kid you took advantage of. He's practically a grown man. This is not things that the actor cosign. He's practically a grown man, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
I'm not so sure everyone, including the actors in this reading, would see it that way.
No, in the movie he's 20, so like the one they made.
In the movie, doesn't she sleep with him before he becomes a student at the school? Or am I imagining?
No, I don't think that's true. Well,
he's 20 in the movie. I would have played my character totally.
Yeah, he's not. He's 19. He's 19 in the movie, and he like his family tragedy like held him back, and so then
I saw Jordan wearing a cool shirt, by the way.
Put me too much in my head, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, so now
alert.
Can we go watch the movie now and then come back, or
They fall silent.
Okay.
They fall silent until a gang of rowdy kids passes.
Me.
Come on, Judge.
You have to tell Gary.
I can't.
You don't really have a choice here.
He's been trying so hard, and this is the first time in years I feel like we've really connected.
He's gotta understand. You were separated, for Christ's sake. If he hadn't cheated on you in the first place.
You can't blame him. I did this.
Okay, but you said yourself that people make mistakes. He loves you so damn much, let him prove it.
And what if Noah goes to the school with this video or to the police?
Do you really think he's gonna put himself in the middle of a scandal like that?
I don't know. There's something not right about him.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I mean, all this time he's been pretending his father is alive. But I found his obituary. Noah's father died 3 years ago. He accidentally shot himself while cleaning his gun.
Christ.
I can't take any chances with him, Vicky. I need to get that video.
Exterior, Wilkerson Prep, day. Dismissal time. The carpool lane is in full swing. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Interior, Wilkerson Prep, Claire's classroom, day. Vicky puts on Claire's coat and red plaid hat and scarf while Claire watches Noah in the courtyard below.
He's out there. Make sure he sees you, but don't get too close.
How do I look?
Claire turns around and examines Vicky.
I wear my purse on the right.
Vicky switches Claire's purse from her left shoulder to her right. Claire hands her the keys to her SUV.
I'll need about an hour. Totally
You
different
got it.
types, by the way. Totally Kristen Chenoweth and J-Lo. Not, okay, anyway.
Yeah, Shano doesn't have that ass.
Well, no, they put a pillow in. Like a kid playing Santa Claus.
I mean, Kristen
Yes.
is like elf-sized. So.
Well, then it's Kristen Chenoweth on top of Kevin, and they're in a trench coat.
Yeah, they're in a trench coat. He's like, Mom, okay, I'll help. Day. Vicky walks to the parking lot, head bowed. From a distance, she looks exactly like Claire. Noah spots her and watches her go. Vicky gets into Claire's SUV and drives away. Noah follows in his Volvo. Noah appreciates safety. I like that. A moment later, Claire emerges from the school and gets into Vicky's Mustang. Interior, Claire's SUV, day. In her mirror, Vicky sees Noah's Volvo several cars behind.
Come on, honey, we're going for a nice little ride.
He turns onto the interstate. Peterson house, day. Claire parks Vicky's Mustang in the garage, shuts the door. Noah's house, backyard. Claire tries Noah's door, then a couple of windows, locked. She scours the rest of the house when she notices a rose-covered trellis, leading to a small second-story window left open a crack. She climbs up, thorns piercing her skin, rotted wood, cracking with every step. At the top, she can't quite reach the window. She crawls onto the steeply slanted roof and inches her way to the window, steadying herself with one foot in the gutter. Claire pries open the window when suddenly the gutter gives way. She grabs the windowsill as the gutter clatters to the ground. Claire hangs there, gathering strength, then hoists herself up and through the opening. Claire's SUV, day. Claire's SUV drives along with Noah not far behind. Vicky sees the fuel light come on.
Oh, wait, where is this?
79.
79, top of 79.
Yes. Oh, great.
Noah's house, Noah's bedroom, day. Claire enters and glances at the unmade bed, remembering. She rummages through Noah's desk drawers, but finds nothing. She slams the last drawer and scans the room, deciding where to search next. Her eyes pass over the LeBron James poster, and that's when she sees it. A tiny hole in LeBron James's eye. Claire climbs onto a chair to examine it. The hole The hole in the poster extends into the wall where she sees the glint of a camera lens. This is the worst betrayal since what he did to Cleveland. Exterior gas station. Vicky pumps gas. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees Noah's Volvo idling on the side of the road. She turns around to replace the nozzle in the pump. When she turns back, Noah's car is gone. Noah's house, Noah's bedroom, day. Claire finds a closet door. She moves boxes stacked on a shelf and finds a camcorder. She opens the compartment where its DV tape should be, but it's empty. Just then, Claire's cell phone rings. She sees it's Vicky and answers.
I lost him.
What?
I stopped for gas and I think he figured it out. He's probably headed back right now.
They haven't found the video.
Just get the hell out of there. Right now.
Noah's house, kitchen. Claire hurries down the stairs and heads toward the back door while she hears the muffled sound of a computer printer. She follows the noise to a door and opens it. Stairs lead to a dark basement. Claire hesitates, looks out at the empty driveway, then flicks on the light and goes down. Through the shadows, Claire follows the noise to a wooden door. She pushes it open with a stale creak to reveal, this is a real Zork we got going on, a small workroom outfitted with a computer and printer. The printer churns, calibrating itself. Claire stops it. Claire moves the computer mouse and Noah's desktop appears. She clicks on the hard drive and scans its contents. She sees it almost immediately, a folder labeled Claire. She opens it and finds hundreds of candid photos of herself. The early photos capture Claire performing mundane tasks, gardening, unloading groceries, taking out the trash, but gradually they become more intimate. There's Claire reading in bed, eating dinner with Kevin, kissing Gary, and then undressing for Noah at her bedroom window.
Bastard.
She scrolls down and lets out a tiny gasp when she sees a movie file. And from its thumbnail, it's clear that this is what she's been looking for. Claire drags the movie file and the photos to the trash and hits the secure empty trash button. A message warns that the files will be permanently deleted. Without hesitation, she hits the delete button. Claire closes the empty folder and is about to put the computer back to sleep when she spots a folder labeled Marissa. Claire opens it and sees scores of candid photos of a pretty, fair-haired woman in her early 30s. Claire zeroes in on a series of photos taken in rapid succession. Marissa exits a red brick building, teenagers all about. She walks to a waiting car. She gets in on the passenger side. She kisses the man who is driving. Claire enlarges a photo that includes the building. The words Bayview High School are carved in the stone pediment. Claire hits the print button and the printer comes to life, but just as suddenly it stops. The display, add paper.
Damn it.
For a moment when it said comes to life, I thought like it was in a Beauty and the Beast fashion and would start.
I'll say something like, not since, what was it, A Clear and Present Danger, the second Harrison Ford movie, has there been such an exciting printing out something scene.
Mm-hmm. I think you mean the second Harrison Ford Jack Ryan movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not the second Harrison Ford movie
was
overall.
what, like the Frisco Kid or something. She rummages, finds a few stray sheets, and shoves them in. The printer churns out part of the photo, then grinds to a halt. Paper jam. With growing panic, Claire slams various compartments and trays until the printer resumes and spits the photo out. Claire grabs it and runs from the room. Noah's house, kitchen. Claire emerges from the basement, ready to get the hell out of Dodge, when she sees the man she once thought was Noah's father at the front door. She panics and tries to duck out of sight, but it's too late. He waves to her through the window and waits at the door. She has no choice but to answer it.
Hi there, is Noah around?
No.
Jim Robbie, Premier Real Estate.
He hands her a business card complete with his photo and title, Licensed Broker. Claire stares at it.
And you are?
The cleaning woman.
Oh, great. Well, would you mind seeing you guess this? It's a copy of the recorded deed for his files.
He hands her an envelope. She looks anxiously past him to the street.
I will just leave this legal document with you.
Expecting Noah to pull up at any moment.
Yeah.
Of course.
He starts to close the door, but Robbie puts a hand to it. He looks her over, head tilted with curiosity.
You don't look like a cleaning woman.
I used to be a teacher before the budget cuts.
He nods thoughtfully, then heads to his car, an all too believable aspect of today's education system. When he pulls away, Claire drops the envelope onto the welcome mat and sprints across the lawn and into her house, Claire's Explorer day. Vicky pulls Claire's SUV into the driveway of her ranch-style house and parks. She bends down to gather her things. When she comes back up, Noah is standing at her window wearing a bone-chilling smile. Peterson House kitchen. Claire stares at the photo of Marissa while holding the phone to her ear.
Bayview High School, Principal Brody's office. May I help you?
Yes, I'm looking for a teacher. I think her name's Marissa. Don't know her last name, but
I'm not authorized to speak about the incident. You'll have to call back during school hours when Principal Brody is in.
Wait a minute. What incident?
The secretary hangs up, leaving Claire blinking with confusion. Kitchen. A TV plays in the background as Claire finishes the dishes. Oh, it's nighttime now. She dries her hands and peeks into the family room where Gary has nodded off in front of the TV. Peterson House study night. Claire sits at the desk and flicks on a computer. She Googles Bayview teacher Marissa. Several news sites pop up. Claire clicks on Milwaukee's fox6now.com. A news headline dated 2 months earlier appears on the screen. Boyfriend convicted in Bayview teacher's murder. Below it is a video window. Claire hits play. On screen, a reporter speaks into a microphone outside a courthouse.
Here in downtown Milwaukee, a jury has returned a guilty verdict against Alex Jacoby for the murder of Bayview High School teacher Melissa Sheldon.
A photo of a Marissa appears, and only now does Claire recall seeing her photo on the news that first day of school.
Sheldon was found bludgeoned to death in her apartment last May. Detectives quickly zeroed in on Jacoby, her live-in boyfriend, as a prime suspect.
Claire? Startled, Claire clicks off the site. What you doing?
Oh, just checking email.
She clicks onto her email account just as Gary comes around behind her. He rubs her shoulders, kisses her neck. You okay? You feel tense.
Been a long day.
Come on, let's go up. I'll give you a nice long back rub. Gary pulls Claire to her feet and leads her out. Master bedroom, morning. The gray light of dawn filters in. Claire slips out of bed while Gary sleeps. Peterson House kitchen. Claire sticks a note on the refrigerator. Early morning faculty meeting, completely forgot, I love you. That'd be funny if she forgot the punctuation, it would just say completely forgot, I love you. Peterson House.
She also ate the plums that were in the icebox. But,
oh, yeah, that note was out there too.
So sweet, so cold.
Just so much depends on that red wagon. Claire backs Mustang out of the driveway, glancing nervously at Noah's sleeping house. Vicky's Mustang, morning. Claire listens to Vicky's recorded greeting on her cell phone, then leaves a message.
Vicky, I've got to go out of town for the day. I'll drop off your car and fill you in on the details when I get back. Tell Warren I'm sick, would you? Thanks.
This is not the script, but Natalie, what would Vicky's outgoing recorded greeting on her cell phone probably sound like?
It would sound like, why are you telling me my new philosophy?
Yeah, because it's Chenoweth. Okay. She hangs up and follows the interstate highway sign from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Exterior, Bayview High School day. The red brick building from the photo. It sits on a busy city block. No sprawling lawns here. Claire pulls into an overcrowded lot. Principal's office day. Claire sits across the desk from Principal Helen Brody, 60.
Noah Sanborn.
Oh, no, it's up a little bit from
Oh, sorry. Marissa was a gifted teacher, young, energetic. The students loved her.
And she entered the Twilight Zone.
Did she ever mention having difficulty with a student named Noah Sanborn?
Brody's eyes become alert, although her voice remains casual.
Noah Sanborn.
You must remember him. He was here through his junior year before transferring to Wilkerson Prep this fall.
Oh, yes. A wonderful student. Very bright, as I recall. Top of his class.
I'm sure. But I was hoping to talk to you off the record.
I beg your pardon?
Noah Sanborn has been a problem at Wilkerson. He's been extremely aggressive sexually towards certain female faculty members.
I can assure you we experienced no such problem with him.
Oh, really?
Claire thrusts the photo of Marissa Sheldon at her.
I found this on his computer. There are hundreds more, all of Marissa.
Principal Brody stares at the photo, her mind calculating.
He was stalking her.
Oh, this doesn't...
And I suspect there was something going on between them.
Absolutely not.
Perhaps you were unaware.
Mrs. Peterson, I run a tight ship here. I certainly would have been alerted to any such impropriety.
Just then, there's a quick knock at the door, and Rhonda Salazar, 27, fresh-faced but plain, enters.
Ellen, I have those figures that you...
Rhonda sees Claire and the distressed look of both women.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll come back.
No, Mrs. Salazar. That's quite all right. I'll take them.
As Rhonda hands some papers to Principal Brody, her eyes travel to the photo of Marissa on her desk. Rhonda blanches, then looks to Claire, who meets her gaze.
Are you a teacher here?
I'm a guidance counselor.
Mrs. Peterson?
Did you know Noah Sanborn?
Mrs. Peterson, you will direct your questions to me. Will you excuse us, please?
Rhonda hurries out. Principal Brody turns to Claire.
Let me be absolutely clear. While it's possible that this young man harbored some kind of schoolboy crush on Marissa, I can assure you nothing ever came of it. And I will not allow you to disparage the memory of one of Bayview's finest teachers, not to mention the reputation of this school.
She stands abruptly and opens the door.
Now, if you don't mind.
Bayview High parking lot. Claire waits in her car. Rhonda appears heading toward her car. Claire scrambles out.
Miss Salazar.
Rhonda turns to see Claire approaching fast. Her face registers panic. She picks up her face.
Please, wait.
I can't help you.
You know something. I saw the look on your face when you saw that photo.
I don't know anything.
Claire grabs her by the arm.
He's trying to hurt me and my family. I need your help. Please.
Bayview High School day. Claire and Rhonda huddle in a secluded spot at the outskirts of a soccer field. Players scrimmage in the distant background. Hey, kicking ball. There's the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
She had an affair with him. When she tried to break it off, he threatened all kinds of things.
Oh my God.
You have to understand, Mrs. Peterson. Marissa was a good person. She was just naive and lonely.
What about her boyfriend?
Alex treated her like shit, made her feel completely worthless. Noah saw how vulnerable she was, how much she needed to be loved.
And he took advantage.
He knew every button to push, and he could be quite the charmer. But something tells me you already know that.
Claire lowers her eyes, ashamed.
As big a creep as Alex was, I never believed he killed her. He wasn't the kind to do something like that.
What are you saying? He was set up?
Marissa would tell me things about Noah, how jealous he was of Alex, how desperate he became when she tried to end it, but I didn't think much about it. But then, after Marissa's murder, I happened to see something in Noah's file, something I wasn't supposed to see.
Tell me.
Noah's mother hanged herself when he was 11.
No.
And that's not the worst of it. She had been molesting him since he was a little boy.
Not in the movie.
Not in the movie.
Rough, guys. Apparently she couldn't live with herself anymore.
Rhonda holds Claire's shocked gaze. Claire is not shocked.
I was gonna say, Dan, don't you think it's a little problematic? But I didn't want to embarrass you.
No.
Mildly problematic.
But hopefully Natalie's dog, soothes the jangled nerves of everyone watching.
Oh, luckily my printer's going off in the background, so.
Don't worry. This next line from Rhonda, I think, shows that the movie is pretty sensitive and tactful about what's going on and what they're talking about.
Okay, we're all going on this journey. I'm no child psychologist, Mrs. Peterson, but I guess trauma like that makes for one pretty fucked up kid.
So obviously the movie is treading lightly and handling this very problematic that kids love.
Right. Oh, apology.
Literally, my dog squirmed away.
Yeah.
She could sense it.
I'm pretty sure, guys. I think we've gone through it. I'm pretty sure we're past the danger zone. We have gone over the mountain, and now we are. It's all downhill from here. I can feel.
Okay, yeah.
So it's
crossed.
going downhill, Dan.
I mean, the child is still being portrayed as the predator, so
Yeah.
we'll let this play out. But
Do they keep talking about how great J.K. Rowling is? You know who's great?
Whose idea was this? No, anyway, go on.
No, there's some good stuff about Trump in there. Interior, Vicky's Mustang. Claire speeds down the highway, her phone to her ear. Interior, Gary's Mercedes day. Gary's answered his phone as he pulls into the driveway with Kevin. Hello? Intercut with Claire and Vicky's Mustang.
Gary, I forgot I was Claire for a second. I was so shocked by that last scene. Gary, where are you?
Where are you? Kevin said you weren't at school today.
Is Kevin with you?
Yeah, we just pulled in.
Thank God. Where's Noah?
Gary and Kevin get out of the car. I don't know. Why?
Gary, listen. Go inside and lock the doors, and whatever you do, don't let Noah in.
What's going on?
You need to talk. I'm on my way. Just promise me you'll do it.
Okay. Gary hears the click on the line and follows Kevin inside. He looks back at Noah's house as he shuts the door behind him. Peterson House kitchen. Gary fumbles about cooking dinner. A real Mr. Mom scenario. Through the window, he sees Noah in his kitchen. Noah smiles and waves. Gary returns a friendly salute. Gary's phone rings. He digs it out of his pocket and answers. Hello? Yeah, hey, Rick. No, he sent it this afternoon. Want me to forward you a copy? Peterson House study. Gary enters and sits down at the computer, the phone still to his ear. He scrolls through his email messages. I could have sworn you were copying on it. Yep, here we go. He forwards the email to Rick, then leans back in his chair. So, how'd your meeting go? This is a whole new subplot that I did not know was going to happen, really. Vicky's Mustang.
So many surprises in this
I'm into it.
thing. Some good, some very, very bad.
Oh, yeah, that sucked.
Claire speeds through the streets of her neighborhood until finally her warmly lit house comes into view. Peterson House study night. Gary sits with his feet up talking on the phone. Suddenly his computer dings with an email alert. He squints at the screen and sees a new untitled email from Noah. No problem, Rick. Anytime. See you tomorrow. Gary sets his BlackBerry down and opens Noah's email. Inside is a video file accompanied by the message, watch me. Off screen, the door slams.
Gary?
In here. He moves the mouse cursor over the video file, but just before he clicks on it, Claire bursts in, her face grave. What's the matter?
Oh, Gary, something terrible.
What is it? Claire falls to her knees before him and seizes his hands.
You have no idea how sorry I am. I never meant to hurt anyone, especially you.
Honey, just slow down and tell me what happened.
It's Noah, Gary. I'm so stupid.
Just then they hear a sharp cry of distress from Kevin upstairs. Gary gets to... Kev, you okay? There it is. There's a loud pounding of feet on the stairs. Then Kevin appears in the doorway, an open laptop in hand. He glares at Claire, angry tears in his eyes.
So this is what it's all about. Why you don't want me to be around him.
Kevin?
What's going on?
See for yourself.
Kevin slams the laptop down on Gary's desk. The same email Gary received from Noah is open on Kevin's screen.
You're a fucking hypocrite. You know that?
He storms out. A moment later, the front door slams.
Gary, please let me.
But before she can utter another word, he clicks on the video file from Noah on Kevin's laptop. On the screen, Noah and Claire fall onto his bed. He crawls on top of her, rips off her shirt, kisses her breast, she moans. The blood drains from Gary's face.
Gary, please stop it.
But he continues watching, his expression wooden. Sex noises mount in volume and intensity, filling every corner of the room.
Stop it.
He slams the laptop shut and sends it crashing to the floor. Oh, it's a Neil Breen film all of a sudden. Gary stands there, stunned.
It was a mistake.
All this time?
It was only once while we were separated.
Jesus, you let me quit my job, move back in.
I tried to tell you, not really. So many times
You let me think we were starting over.
We were!
Starting over means being honest. I may have done a really shitty thing, but I came clean. From day one, I took complete responsibility.
Yeah, after you cheated on me.
Good point, but Gary doesn't even hear it.
Love that stage
direction.
direction. Beautiful stage direction.
That stage direction is the author standing up for the character. But your goddamn sanctimonious attitude judging me while here you are fucking the kid next door.
He is no kid.
He's 17 years old. He's your student.
Literally.
Christ, you could go to prison for this. Did you even think of that?
He's a predator, Gary. Wow, this gets worse. And I'm not even the first one he targeted. He was involved with his teacher from the other school, and I think he killed her.
That's ridiculous. He heads for the door, leaving his BlackBerry behind. Claire follows, her hysteria growing.
Where are you going?
To find Kevin.
I'm coming with you.
No, you're not. You've done enough. You've done enough. He goes out, slamming the door behind him, tears falling down her cheeks. She watches Gary's car pull away. Claire takes off her coat and opens the closet door to hang it up, and that's when she sees it. Hanging on the empty coat hook, so not empty, is Claire's Burberry hat and scarf that Vicky wore when acting as a decoy the day before. A note pinned to it says, "The greatest griefs are those we cause ourselves. Sophocles, Oedipus the king." No line attribution this time. Maybe he didn't have time to look it up. Vicky's Mustang, night. Claire drives, her cell phone to her ear.
I'm busy, you're busy. Leave your number and we'll get busy together.
So that answers the question of what the outgoing message sounds like.
Yeah. But I just wanted to bring musical theater into the proceedings.
Thank you.
Vicky, I need to know you're okay.
Claire waits for an answer, but there's only silence. She throws down her phone and steps on the gas. Exterior, Vicky's house, night. Claire screeches into Vicky's driveway, her headlights illuminating her own SUV just where Vicky parked it last. Claire jumps out and hurries toward the dark house. At the side door, she rings the bell and peers through the window. Inside, a black cat stares out at her. Claire raps on the window. The cat startles and scampers off.
Vicky, open up. It's me.
No answer. Claire removes a key hidden under a potted plant. Kitchen, night. Claire enters, flicks on a light.
Vicky?
The cat meows at her from a distance, then runs into living room, night. Claire walks through, noticing nothing out of place. She comes to a door open only a crack. The cat squeezes in.
Vicky?
Claire pushes the door open and peers into bedroom, night, dimly lit from the light of an adjoining bathroom. Claire enters, looks around. The cat weaves between her legs, purring loudly. Purr.
Hey, you're all wet.
She looks down and sees her shins covered in blood. She cries out, and the cat scurries into the bathroom, painting a blood stain on the door. Claire presses a trembling hand to the bathroom door and pushes it open. A figure suddenly appears in front of her. Claire jumps back and sees just her own reflection in a full-length mirror. She forces herself to go in. Bathroom, night. The bathtub is shrouded by a blood-spattered shower curtain. Filled with dread, Claire flings the shower curtain open. To her surprise, the tub is empty, spotless. She stares, bewildered. Then, in the quiet, she hears a slow dripping. She slowly turns and sees Vicky's body hanging on the back of the door, the towel near her throat, her blood dripping onto the wet tile. Claire reels back, gripping the sink to keep from collapsing. She staggers out of the room. Vicky's house, night. I mean, that must have both strength and aim to kill someone on a towel hook like that. Nice prop work.
It's a very bad thing.
Animal work. Vicky's house, night. Claire heaves with sobs as she races to Vicky's Mustang. She gets in and takes off her tires, squealing. Vicky's Mustang, night. Claire searches her purse for her phone. She veers over the double yellow line and into the path of an oncoming car. A horn wails. Ah! Claire careens back into her own lane with no time to spare. She finds her phone and dials. You have reached Gary Peterson.
Damn it! Vicky's dead, Gary. Stay away from the house.
Peterson house, night. Gary's Mercedes pulls into the driveway. I thought he had an Audi. Anyway, Gary's Mercedes continuous. As Gary parks, a bleary-eyed Kevin sitting next to him notices a light in Noe's bedroom window. Suddenly, Kevin scrambles out of the car and rushes toward Noah's house. Kevin, no! Noah's house, day. Before Kevin even gets to the door, Noah swings it open.
Hey, man, no hard feelings.
Kevin punches him in the gut. Noah doubles over with a groan. Then he begins to laugh.
Oh, look, pal. If you really want to do some damage, you aim for the face.
Kevin swings at Noah's jaw. Noah dodges the punch. Kevin swings again, but gets only air. Infuriated, he tackles Noah to the floor and flails at his head and chest.
You were my friend.
Gary arrives and pulls Kevin off. Kevin, come on. That's no way to handle this. Kevin fights Gary, but emotion soon overwhelms him and he collapses against Gary with a sob. We're going to be okay. We're going to work this out as a family. Noah staggers to his feet.
You think she wants any part of your pathetic little family? All your be a big man bullshit from the guy who fucks around. Some big man, Gary. And you self-centered little prick. When was the last time you ever told her you loved her? You both had your chance. I'm the one she turned to when she needed someone. I'm her family.
Gary stares at Noah, the kid's madness finally dawning on him. She was right. You are one twisted little bastard.
Oh, wow.
With that, Noah charges at Gary, but Gary grabs him by the collar and slams him against the wall. Let me tell you something, you piece of shit. It's going to take a hell of a lot more than some little boy to tear this family apart. Gary lets go of him and puts his arm around Kevin. Come on, Kev. Let's go home. They leave together. Noah remains pressed against the wall, shaken. Problem not solved. Vicky's Mustang, night. Claire weaves through traffic, the phone to her ear.
County 911, what is the nature of your emergency?
My family is in danger.
Peterson house, kitchen, night. Gary and Kevin enter. Kevin rushes up the stairs. Kevin's room. Kevin enters, throws himself onto the bed, and flips on the stereo. Cello music pours out. Defiant. Cranks it up. Peterson house study. As the cello music plays upstairs, Gary picks up Kevin's laptop from the floor. He sees Noah and Claire frozen on the screen. He closes the video window and deletes the video. With shaky hands, he pours himself a drink, swallows it in one gulp, pours another. He spots his BlackBerry sitting on the desk where he left it and sees a voicemail message from Claire. Suddenly, there's a loud clatter from another room. Kitchen, Gary enters, sniffing the air. What the hell? He follows the smell to the basement door and opens it. Thin wisps of smoke greet him. He rushes to the cupboard under the sink and roots around.
Looking for this?
Gary turns as a fire extinguisher comes at his face, sending him to the floor. He's stunned, but fully conscious. Noah watches him struggle to get up, and he raises the extinguisher and brings it crashing down on Gary's skull. Gary stares at Noah with blank eyes, then falls back with a thud, out cold. Kevin's room. The cello music blares as Kevin washes his face. Again, he has a sink in his room. When he comes up from the sink and opens his eyes, he sees a flash of something behind him in the mirror. He whirls around and looks into his room. Nothing. He goes back to rinsing his face. The music abruptly stops. Kevin looks up, puzzled. Drying his face, he goes to the stereo and sees that the switch has been flipped off. He notices the eerie quiet of his surroundings.
Dad?
Kevin swings open his door and is met with a punch in the face from Noah. Kevin drops to the floor.
What did I tell you? The face, man. Works every time.
Kevin struggles to get up, but Noah slugs him over and over again. Blood spurts from Kevin's nose and lips. Through blurred vision, Kevin sees Noah above him, raising Kevin's cello up into the air. The steel tailspike of the cello hovers over Kevin, then plunges down, headed straight for Kevin's groin. Kevin rolls away just before the tailspike pierces the carpet and the floor below it. While Noah struggles to yank the cello free, Kevin scrambles to his feet and runs out. Peterson house, kitchen. Smoke fills the room. An alarm shrieks. Kevin bounds down the stairs.
Dad!
Kevin doesn't see Gary's body lying behind the kitchen island, but he hears Noah coming right behind. Kevin flings open the back door and runs out into the night. Noah barrels down the stairs in hot pursuit. Before following Kevin out, Noah stops to grab a butcher knife from the knife block on the island. He starts for the door when Gary reaches out and grabs Noah's ankle, tripping him. Noah sees Gary's eyes cracked open behind a veil of blood.
A little late in the game for heroics, Gary.
Noah plunges the knife into Gary's gut. Gary howls with pain. Noah pulls the knife out and wipes it clean on Gary's pants. He heads out. That's adding insult to injury. He heads out the door. Peterson house, night. Claire skids into the driveway, nearly ramming Gary's car. She jumps out and races to the house. So I assume all this scene is what's taking the place of the big barn fight in the movie.
Yeah, I'm sad there's no barn fight with like an inexplicably like hoisted in the air engine block like the anvil in Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, we might get to it.
It drops every 10.
Yep. Interior, Peterson house, kitchen. Claire rushes in, crazy with panic, choking on the smoke.
Gary? Kevin?
A moan comes from behind the island. Claire finds Gary clinging to life.
Gary. Oh my God.
Kevin.
Where is he?
Exterior, woods, night. Kevin runs through dense trees. He looks back for Noah, and his foot catches a tree root. He tumbles to the ground. He lies there for a moment, listening. Silence. Then the crunch of footsteps and an eerily calm voice.
I know you're here, bro. I can smell you. Weirdly suggestive. I'm not sure what that means exactly.
Yeah, well, he's more wolf than man at this point. Kevin sees Noah walk by less than 30 feet away. The knife in his hand glints in the moonlight.
Come out and fight like a man. Even your chicken shit father did it in the end.
Noah disappears behind some trees. Kevin takes off in the opposite direction. Noah hears him and turns to see his shadowy figure heading deeper into the woods. He follows, the gleam of the hunter in his eyes. Exterior, Peterson house, front lawn. A faraway siren wails as Claire pulls Gary to safety.
I've got to find them.
No, he'll kill you.
I love you, Gary.
Claire runs off toward the woods, stopping only to grab a shovel leaning against the garage. Exterior, woods, night. Kevin stops in the clearing. With the ravine up ahead and Noah right behind, he's got nowhere to run. He spies the fallen sycamore and tucks himself under its massive trunk, accidentally brushing against the tire swing and setting it in motion. Do you remember there being a tire swing on it before?
No.
I don't. That seems like new information.
Well, no, there was a tire swing, yes, at the beginning of the screenplay. I don't remember it from the movie, but we all know this is horrifyingly different from the movie. So we'll keep
Noah enters the clearing. Come on. Oh, wait. No, I'm saying
Come on, Kev. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk.
Noah notices the tire swing moving. He goes to it and stops it. His eyes scan the area. Kevin sees Noah's legs so close he could reach out and touch them. He barely breathes. Noah circles the clearing, searching as distant sirens grow louder. His impatience builds.
So you're just going to let me get away with it? I fucked your mother, man. You should have seen her begging for it.
Kevin shakes with rage, but remains silent.
Like a dog. So I gave it to her, just like she wanted.
Noah stomps around with growing frustration, slashing the brush with his knife.
I fucked your girlfriend, little whore. Oh my God, my baby is sleeping in the next room and I'm afraid to raise my voice too loud that I'm going to wake him up. I fucking butchered your old man right there on your kitchen linoleum. And you're just going to run away and hide, you candy ass son of a bitch.
Suddenly, Claire's voice echoes through the trees.
Kevin!
Here comes Mommy, Kevin. You going to wait for her to rescue you?
Noah calls out, mimicking Kevin's voice.
Mom!
Claire hears Noah's call as she runs through the woods.
I'm coming!
A new talent for Noah. Kevin scrambles out from his hiding place.
He's got a knife.
Finally, a set of balls.
Noah lunges for Kevin with his knife. Kevin dodges him. Noah comes at him again, but this time Kevin grabs his wrist. They lock in a struggle over the knife. The blade inches ever closer to Kevin's throat. Finally, in an act of utter desperation, Kevin knees Noah in the groin. While Noah is doubled over in pain, Kevin tackles him. The knife goes flying. The two boys wrestle. Kevin lands a couple of lucky punches, but Noah quickly gains the upper hand and pummels Kevin until he passes out. Straddling Kevin, Noah raises a large rock overhead and is about to crush Kevin's skull with it when, whack! Claire's shovel bashes Noah upside the head. He keels over and lies motionless in the dirt. Claire rushes to Kevin. She listens for breathing, wipes the blood from his face.
Kevin, can you hear me? Come on, honey, wake up.
Noah starts to come to. Claire shakes Kevin.
Kevin!
Noah groans and sits up. Claire scrambles to her feet, wielding the shovel like a batter, anticipating a 4-steam fastball.
Stay away, Noah. I'm warning you.
Noah gets to his feet, but keeps his distance.
Doesn't appreciate you, Claire. Not like I do.
Yep. What does Claire say?
Next line, guys.
Uncomfortable, problematic line.
Next line, guys.
Your problem.
Let's just skip to the next stage direction. Why don't we just say no? Why don't we just say no?
Okay, that seems fair. We can choose things. We are actors of free will in our own lives, and we can choose to skip things that you have problems with.
People are going to be lost about the plot, but okay.
You're lucky this is a film screenplay, because if this was a theater script, we could not change a word.
The text is sacrosanct in the theater.
The playwright is king in the theater. The lowly screenwriter is barely a grub.
This got made. Like, this got bought and made. Do you know how hard that is? That's insane.
They changed a lot of it, obviously.
Still got bought.
I read this and saw raw potential.
Yeah, he saw one. That's a good concept. There's a boy who lives next door. Suddenly, Noah charges her. Claire swipes at him, but he's too quick. He comes in low and tackles her to the ground. Claire thrashes and flails like a wild animal. Noah straddles her writhing body, enduring her blows until pinning her arms above her head. See this scene? That's symmetry. Earlier, they were together like this in love. Now it's in hatred and violence. Defeated and that's my commentary.
Just like they introduced the shovel.
To Jenny's
for
commentary,
cooking.
I kept asking myself when I was reading this: Have I ever written anything this good? I don't think so. So
you will someday.
Suspend your disbelief.
Defeated and exhausted, Claire grows still. Noah breathes heavily, exhilarated. He leans in to kiss her, but she turns her head away, and that's when she sees it. The knife, in the dirt, out of reach, but a lifeline just the same. Noah nuzzles Claire's neck and begins to move on top of her, pressing his pelvis into her, humping her. Now, it seems unnecessary for them to say that. Gradually, Claire begins to move with him. She moans with pleasure, purrs into his ear.
How do you do this to me?
With growing excitement, Noah's kisses travel up to her face, to her lips. She kisses him deeply.
You see how good we are together? I'm all you need. Not them.
She nods, her eyes sincere. He smiles and leans in for another kiss when Claire lunges up and bites his nose. Noah howls and thrashes wildly, his blood spurting, but Claire hangs on like a pit bull. Noah digs his fingers into her eyes and bashes her face with his fist until finally she releases him. He jumps to his feet, blood gushing from his nose.
Bitch.
She dives for the knife, but before she can reach it, Noah grabs her hair and yanks her to her feet. He pushes her against a weathered wooden fence, a flimsy barrier between them and the ravine.
I loved you.
Noah clamps his hands around Claire's throat and slowly squeezes the life out of her.
Please, Noah.
Suddenly, off screen, there's an almost inhuman roar. Noah
like a Wendigo of some kind.
Motherfucker!
And that dialogue means something different in this movie.
Right.
Kevin rams Noah against the fence with a crack and lands a few blows to Noah's already mangled face. Noah rallies, grabbing Kevin by the shirt and swinging him around against the fence with another crack. Noah pummels him in the gut. Kevin stays on his feet, but the fence splinters with each blow until finally, with the last punch, it gives way. The boys go tumbling over the edge of the cliff.
No!
Claire dashes to the cliff's edge and peers down to the black abyss. She can make out only the vague contours of a narrow outcropping of rock about 15 feet below.
Kevin!
Mom?
Hang on!
Claire finds Noah's knife and cuts the rope of the tire swing with it. She ties one end to a tree and sends the other end over the cliff.
Can you reach the rope?
After a moment, there's a tug.
Good. Now climb up!
He sits on the ground and coils the rope around her hands. Kevin's weight is almost too much for her, but she holds on fast, taking up the slack whenever she can. This is just good writing. Her body already bore the pain of bringing him into the world. Now it's bearing the pain of bringing him back to the surface. After a few moments, she sees his hand reach up over the edge. Claire grabs his wrist and pulls him up. As the top of his head emerges from the darkness, more birth imagery, he lets out a small grunt of exertion. Claire stops cold, unnerved.
Kevin?
He turns his blood-covered face up to her. And it's not Kevin's eyes she's looking into, it's Noah. Claire recoils and releases his wrist. As Noah slides over the edge, he grabs Claire's foot, dragging her with him. She snags the rope just before going over the side of the cliff. Claire dangles from the rope with Noah clinging to her. She squirms and kicks, but he's attached to her like a leech. After a moment, he begins a slow and steady climb up the length of Claire's body. His fingers rip her clothes, dig into her flesh. Her grip grows weaker by the second.
I can't hold on!
He presses his lips to her, hissing.
Let go.
But she doesn't, and he hoists himself up to solid ground. Noah crouches down and extends his hand to her. Claire stares up at him defiantly.
I'd never do anything to hurt you, Claire.
Claire's hands slip.
You can trust me.
His face is as innocent as a choir boy's. Claire hesitates, then reaches out and grasps his hand. She gives a hint of a smile before her grip tightens.
But you can't trust me.
Noah's eyes widen with surprise as Claire yanks him over the cliff. He lets out a blood-curdling scream as his body bounces off the outcropping of rocks and plummets to the bottom of the ravine. Claire hangs there, gasping for breath. Then she slowly climbs up. Fighting back tears, she peers into the ravine.
Kevin!
But there's no response. Claire falls to her knees and wails with despair. Then suddenly, there's a weak cry.
Mom!
Claire sees the rope moving. She peers into the ravine and sees Kevin climbing up. When he nears the top, Claire reaches out for him. Their hands clasp together, united. Claire pulls Kevin to safety. Now on solid ground, Kevin falls into his mother's arms. They hold each other as sirens wail in the distance. Peterson House, day. Fade in, exterior Peterson House, day. A sold sign is staked on the snow-covered lawn. Claire and Kevin load boxes into a U-Haul trailer.
You got everything?
Except for my laptop.
He runs off to the house. A postal truck, so there's just an empty house with a laptop sitting on the floor. A postal truck pulls up and a mailman hops out.
Need a signature.
Claire signs for it. He hands her an envelope and drives off. Claire stares at the return address, Illinois State Board of Education. She opens it and unfolds an official-looking letter. She reads, "We hereby inform you that your teaching license has been permanently revoked." Claire smiles sadly and folds out the letter. She glances up at the garage. Peterson Garage, day. Dark and dusty. The automatic garage door opens. Claire enters and looks around for anything she might have left. She spots a small box containing dormant flower bulbs. Honey? Claire looks up and sees Gary, a jagged scar visible on his shorn scalp, his movement stilted, as if still nursing his wounds. You about ready to go? Claire goes to Gary. They wrap their arms around each other and walk to the car where Kevin waits. We remain in the garage as the automatic door descends, leaving us in total darkness, which makes it unnecessary to say, fade out. The end. And thus, the tale of the Boy Next Door original screenplay edition.
That was egregious.
Wow.
Yeah, what a bad movie.
What a fucking journey, but it's not the movie, and that's the thing. This is so different. What a different journey this was. Can I say what my favorite line that isn't in this script is?
Yeah, this is the platform.
So
there's a big plot point involving Kevin in the movie where Kevin's allergy, he like has a really bad allergy to bees, and he got like stung by a bee when he was in like 2nd grade, and he peed himself because he was so scared. And so Jason Zimmer and all the bullies call him Wiz. And at one point they come up and Jason Zimmer goes, "Hey Wiz, your movie was on Turner Classic last night. The Wiz, it's the black version of The Wizard of Oz." They literally explain what The Wiz is.
Wow.
And they say, "Your movie was on Turner Classic
Also, wait,
last night."
that's his movie and not My Girl?
That's true. I guess they didn't want to spoil My
I thought
Girl
it was
for
going to
any-
be My Girl. I
just love that Jason Zimmer, the school bully, watches Turner Classic Movies.
Yes.
It must have, maybe it was like some kind of I don't know, dance on film.
He's
I gotta
sort of
say-
an
Appreciate
Kalan
it.
type.
Yeah.
I wanted to know why Jason had such a beef with him, you know? Why pick on him so much? And
Yeah.
you answered it.
Kids
He
are
had that
cool.
bee allergy.
So that was weird. That
What?
thing? No, I mean, like I actually want to give more credit to the movie The Boy Next Door now, because I'm like, oh, okay, you took a script that was much worse, and you actually did like what's on screen is better than this. It's not a case of like the studio ruining a great screenplay. It's the studio taking a screenplay they probably shouldn't have bought in the first place and then making it into a fun, campy thriller.
Yeah, Elliott had made a comment about how the shooting script had inserted a little more like, I don't know, let's say sexy dialogue, like talking about your mom's cookies, etc.
At one point, at the rainstorm, he says, "Yeah, it got pretty wet here last night."
Yeah, but it turned out that the shooting script was less gross than the original.
Yeah.
The shooting script, I think, the movie seems to take itself a little less seriously than the script.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so much more shocking when the script goes into
It takes a turn.
Mhm.
You know, guys, I think we've learned a lesson today about reading things. Although, why would we assume? That's the thing. Like, why would we assume this was not? I mean, whatever.
I mean, also, you could have just, I mean, we all had it. You
Could've
could
read
have
the
just
script.
read it
All of us
before
had
we
it.
did it tonight.
Every one of us, except for
Lesson how-
Jordan. Jordan is blameless in all of this because Jordan was roped in at the last minute. Jordan gets
Yeah, I'm the only one who's not canceled. Boom. Fuck
Oh,
you.
man. Well, at least when I'm canceled, I'm with all you guys.
Look,
No, Miss Clavel isn't canceled.
No, I mean, she's great.
Clavel?
What?
Oh my god, that's so cute.
That's Madeline.
No, Miss Clavel is super into QAnon.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
She has a
sorry.
lot of theories about 5G.
Right.
and she was afraid of a disaster. The disaster was the deep state.
Well,
That's why she
look,
ran fast and faster.
I want to say, until this turned horrifying, I was having a great time with you, my buddies.
I still had a great time after.
Yeah, I
that.
still had a fun time.
It
It was fun to watch you
informative.
squirm, Dan. It was really great.
Like,
Yeah.
I had a great time. I just don't want to inflict horribleness on the world, but I had a great time hanging with you guys. Are we?
Yeah.
So are we debriefing now? What are we doing? I guess.
Yeah, let's do a post-mortem.
Yeah,
Postmortem.
I think. Well, we
So
did
let's
this.
like talk about our performances, like all of us.
Oh, yeah. Let's get real.
We did this reading.
Stuart, you were a genius.
Oh, thank
Very
you.
good.
You know, I think you're really great, Hallie. You brought a really creepy energy to know Sandborn.
Thanks. It's the role I was born to play.
Dan, it's one criticism. I didn't believe the feeling of orgiastic excess that I wanted to get from you.
Dan, you did no physical. You didn't act anything out. It was very hard to get lusty about you because you just weren't bringing it. I felt like I was bringing all this romantic tension to our relationship, and like, what did I have? You know, it was just
really
no
was
romance.
acting against nothing, and I apologize.
I regret that Jordan didn't play Gary because I think Jordan would have been able to bring something different from the role than me. So next time we do this, when we read this script again, Jordan,
Like
Unedited.
Now we're gonna read Oogie Loves next time, Elliot. Something that definitely doesn't have.
Brats.
Oh,
But
wow.
actually, this
Should be
is a fun fact.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I would love that now.
should do that.
Wait,
But Gary is
musical reading?
Oh, wow. I don't know if I could handle a musical reading of cats. Although a normal reading of Bratz, I'd be very into.
And they
It's
rhyme.
Bratz
Bratz
with
and
the
the
cat's
cat.
music.
True.
Unless the original version of Bratz is horrifying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dan, you'd just be John Voight, the role you were born to play.
Yeah.
Is it true that there's a butthole cut of Bratz out there somewhere?
Oh no.
Well, now, as I understand it, it was more that the visual effects were not very good, so it looked in several scenes like
Right.
the cats had buttholes, and then someone had to be employed to scrub the buttholes.
In Bratz.
Yes. Yeah, and Bratz. They had VFX to remove the buttholes and
And there are a
Now-
couple scenes in Bratz where you can see Judi Dench's unedited hand.
All right, she's wearing a big Apple Watch. Sure.
The fun part about this is now we're just
Cats,
hanging out.
like Jennifer Hudson was flying away, and then it said 4 years later, still flying away.
I want to see the cats hanging out with the kids who dress like dinosaurs.
yeah.
That's the ultimate Bratz Cats crossover.
So Dan, you probably have a really clean, big energy closeout for this show, right? You already got all
I
planned.
mean, my big energy closeout was going to be to, just like ask everyone, if they have anything to plug.
But Dan, before we do that, I just want to say we did this reading as a thank you to our viewers and listeners for all that they donated to charity. So I feel like the karma scales are now balanced. We have
we did it.
nothing from the charity.
Slide it back down.
Yeah, we were here and now we're here. I think it's okay.
Yeah, that's.
I don't. We bullshitted about this, I think, before the thing, but this week is the 13-year anniversary of the podcast that kind of spawned this reading. So that's kind of a big
Literally
deal for me. It's a big deal. Like, it's a weird, crazy thing. So thanks for everybody being here. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry for stepping on your genuine moment of sentimentality. I am
No, it's okay.
very happy that I've spent 13 years with you, my friends, and that includes everyone here. I mean, I just spent 13 years with all of you, but
I feel so grateful that I spent 12 and a half years with you guys.
I mean, I'm glad that at least I had a half a year to, not have you.
to work up to Elliott.
Well, a half a year that when you knew you could talk without somebody steamrolling over you.
Yeah.
So
but-
does anyone have anything they want to plug or pitch
Yeah,
or tell us?
don't have anything.
Tell our many thousands of viewers, millions probably, where to find you or what to do.
I want to plug the Flophouse podcast. I've been a fan for 8 years, and I am such a fan, and I was so honored, and my cheeks truly hurt from smiling. So thanks.
Oh, thanks, Natalie.
and I'm a fan of watching Natalie turn from being that weird person who came up to us at a screening one time to the queen of the internet. Like, that was such a wonderful thing to watch from afar.
She's QAnon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what the Q stands for.
I get
Queen
it.
of the End.
Oh.
And one of the N stands for Natalie.
And I just want to say I was very excited to be part of this because Jenny and Natalie, I am really big fans of you, and I am also a huge Cats fan. I wanted to try to find me as a child wearing my oversized Cats shirt and my bike shorts, and I was very envious of you guys that you got to do that podcast. But I was very, I was so pleased, and I was really excited to get to meet you guys and do something with you. So. Thank you for facilitating this, Flophouse people, because these are some cool fucking ladies, and I wanted to do this a lot.
I felt so bad, by the way, Hallie. Like, Hallie.
Oh, no.
Hallie texted me, and she's like, "What the fuck?
No.
Cats without me?" I'm like, "I didn't know. I'm sorry."
We'll do an anniversary.
We'll do
Cat-
that.
Yes, I mean, Elliott
Yeah.
set it up that it's going to be an annual cat
I love that.
extravaganza.
Cool.
Really?
Oh, much like the Jellicle Ball.
No,
Yeah.
Cats only gave me more gifts because they brought me to you.
Oh, how sweet. How well said.
And Hallie, I want to compliment your performance in particular because Noah says some horrible things in the script, and I think they're only palatable coming from someone as lovable as you.
When considering the options, that's the only one we could go with.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to end this, so we probably should just do it.
So who are you?
After all that heartfelt talking, I feel pretty crass promoting my upcoming children's book, Sharko and Hippo,
there
comes out
you go.
September 29th. If you like torture,
Elliot, you could say something nice about me. I mean, it's
Yeah.
we know each
I
other
don't
pretty
really know
well.
you so well. So. Actually, if
Memories.
Yes.
it was so great to do this with everybody. And Hallie, I want to apologize personally. I should have known you would want to do Cats, since we did spend 4 years singing Jesus Christ Superstar songs together.
Thank you. I took Elliot and his beautiful wife Danielle to Jesus Christ Superstar for their wedding gift. We are both a fan of musicals. Sorry. Not sorry.
Okay, well. I'm just going to go through and say everyone's name. Like it seems like it'll make it easier. Thank you to everyone.
Yep.
I've been Dan McCoy. Thank you to my co-hosts, Elliott, Kalan, who in my world is in this box, Stuart Wellington. Thank you to all of our wonderful Flophouse friends who helped make this happen. Hallie Haglund, Natalie Walker, Ginny Jaffe, and Jordan Morris. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for donating to charity. And now we will say goodbye.
Yep.
Matt, please
yeah.
leave.
And I just want to thank Matt, our tech guy. Who
Yeah.
up and fucking did this.
Matt. Thank you so much, Matt.
And now you can end everything.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.